Good evening and welcome to the Raw Feed. We're streaming live worldwide on YouTube, Rumble, and X to millions of patriots who refuse to be silenced. While you're watching right now, grab your phone and text this stream to everyone you know. They're trying to suppress us, but they can't stop word of mouth, can they? Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is no ordinary Halloween night. We're exactly 5 days away from what might be the most consequential election in American history. Donald Trump versus Kamala Harris, and what we're seeing unfold is scarier than any ghost story. But before we dive in, I want you to know something. We're doing this together right now. Thousands of you are flooding our live chat with comments. We see you. We hear you. Your super chats, your Rumble rants will be featured on screen between segments. Remember, you're not just watching the news, you're part of making history. And speaking of making history, we desperately need your support to keep this show on the air. The mainstream media wants us gone. Big tech wants us silenced, but with your help, through the donation links in the description, we can keep on fighting. We can keep the truth exposed. Now, tonight's show, it might be the most important we've done ever. We have explosive evidence of voting machine glitches appearing nationwide. But that is just the beginning. We've uncovered leaked passwords, unsecured ballots, and a coordinated attempt to silence conservative voices that will make your blood run cold. Then, the moment that has Washington trembling. President Trump's response to being called garbage wasn't just brilliant, it was revolutionary. We've got exclusive footage from his Wisconsin rally that the mainstream media doesn't want you to see. But wait until you hear what happened when J.D. Vance stepped onto the Joe Rogan studio. 4 hours of unfiltered truth that has the establishment in panic mode. And polling data? Let's just say there's a reason Kamala Harris is melting down at her rallies. And just when you thought it couldn't get more explosive, the New York Times launched what they thought would be their knockout punch against conservative media. Spoiler alert, it backfires spectacularly. All of this, plus your live reactions, your super chants, your Rumble rants throughout the show. Remember, follow us on Rumble and X because you do not want to miss a thing. You're watching the Raw Feed, and we are just getting started now. Let's welcome you to the show. Who do we have with us tonight? Running Bears in the house. We got Ellen. She's grabbed her popcorn. We got Chris C. Here we go. We got Sabrina G. is Dark MAGA. We got Doug is in the house. We've got Randall Elliott. We've got Mary in the house. Remember, when you sound off in the chat, tell us where you're watching from. City, state, country, what kind of device. It helps everybody know just how broad the broadcast is and that you are part of the Next News family. Let's see. We've got, who else? Running Bear Tammy is in the house. We've got Nunya. We got Planet 3S. We've got Troll Patrol, trolling the trolls. No, you're awesome, dude. You're awesome. We got David in the house. Pothead Kenny, what's up, man? We got Mike Brady here. Southern Ninja, North Carolina Foothills, sounding off. Lizette Taylor is here. What's up? Bobby D. We got Dottie Norton in Texas. We got Cecil Payton in Indiana. Who else is in the house? We've got Mr. RC51. Man, I don't know how this guy does it, but he's like the first commenter on every single video we upload. I don't know how he does it, but he's always right there, front and center. Systematic Taxation is here. What's up, sweetie? Pamela is here in California. We've got, who else? We've got Yana, hoping for a turn in America. Yes, we've also got Jesus Girl. Today's last day of early voting in Tennessee. Let's do this. We got Colorado Springs checking in. Michael's here. Chris C. in New York City. Ohio, Think at the Brink is here. We've got Nelson from Texas and Joel from Concord. Jamming for Jesus in the house from Missouri. Northern California, Mr. RC51. We've got Chrono is watching from South Carolina. Jeanette is in Kansas. Heather is here. God bless you, Gary Franchi, and your family. MAGA forever. Daryl Sutton is here. And Arcoma, Oklahoma. Chris is here from Canada. Our friends up in the Great White North are here. Lizette Taylor, Central Florida. Bach is here from Australia. I always love it. Again, another one. X5 from Brisbane, Australia. I always love seeing our folks who are watching from all over the world because you guys know what's at stake, and if America falls, so does the world. And you're here to get the real truth that you won't get anywhere else. Steve is here, and Jason is here from Western New York. Doom 1986. Kamala will be installed just like Biden. Nah, that's some doom we don't want to have right now. Christine is here from Northwest Arkansas. Darlene in Kentucky. Clear Verp, Artesia, New Mexico. We got Tammy in Kansas. We got Lily in Long Beach. We got Mary in Iowa and Jean in Gunter, Texas. Steve voted Republican. All right. Well done, Steve. We got Daryl. He's like, let's go already. Come on. We got to get the show on the road. Betty from Greenville, Texas. Lori and Ron from North Carolina. Cincinnati, Ohio. Theodore is here. Kelly Skaggs, West Virginia. And we got Heidi from Montana. Pam Weinberg from El Paso, Texas. We got Nunya. What's up? Congrats. Thank you. Yes, we did have some good news the other night. And if you want to know, well, yeah, the channel got remonetized. And it was completely out of the blue. It happened live. And you go back, watch the stream, our last live stream, and you can see the reaction in real time at about the 47-minute mark. And then all of a sudden, like all these super chats started coming in. We started freaking out. I called my wife. Like my sister-in-law called. My cousin called. My kids got on the phone. They were watching live, and it was like they were freaking out. They couldn't believe like the super chats. They couldn't believe the fact that we were getting like all these people that were donating in real time, celebrating with us, and the fact that we found out the channel got monetized. So, I mean, serious change in everything. Like we can finally breathe again. But the fight's not over. It never is. And we're going to keep going. So who else is in the house? Oh, and remember, we will be reading your super chats between segments. Mary Mitchell's in Virginia. We got Finland here. Tommy. We got Nelson Muntz in South Texas. Deborah is in the house for the first time. Trump. Right on. Welcome to the family. Tammy in Kansas. We got Cindy in Florida. Deb in Missouri. David in Holland, Minnesota. Erie Fairy Tales, Northern California. BJ in Las Vegas. Monrovia, California. Joe is here. We got Mike in South Dakota. Frog Gaming in also South Dakota. Lori in Georgia. I love Georgia. I really do. I really do. Yeah, Doom 1986. We got some news on those touch screens. We're going to be talking about that in a little bit. Bob says they can't win without cheating. That's true. Charles here from the northern Georgia mountains. Android and Roku. He's double dipping tonight. Pagosa Springs, Colorado. Brian's here. We've got Kat Davis, Silver Springs, Florida. Heather's in Oregon. We got Lona in Casper, Wyoming. Sinwit 2, Texas. Kimberly in Michigan. Peter in London, England. Yes. Our friends across the pond. I guess I love it. I was going to try and do some cheap English accent, but I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to give you guys the cringe. We got Clear in New Mexico. Warren in Oregon. Mr. RC51, he got banned on 24-hour on YouTube. Sorry to hear that. Wow, so many folks are in the house, and it is awesome to see everybody. We've got a lot of news to cover. It is Halloween, so if you hear a ruckus in the studio, it's probably because there's people knocking on our door trying to get all the candy, and the kids are running around in their costumes, so just bear with us, all right? Let's get into our first story of the evening. Patriots, what I'm about to show you should send shockwaves through every American who cares about our republic. Voting machines failing in multiple states. Over 600 passwords leaked in Colorado. Unsecured voting equipment left in public spaces across Chicago. In Nevada County, 77,000 ballots can't be properly counted. Michigan's voter files showing impossible discrepancies. In just 5 days before the election, officials are telling us it's too late to fix the issues. This is not incompetence, folks. It's something far more sinister. And here's something that you need to understand about protecting what matters most. Just as we're seeing our election integrity compromised, many Americans are watching their retirement savings erode due to inflation and market instability. But there is a solution that's helped protect wealth for thousands of years: precious metals. While voting machines may fail, gold and silver have never crashed to zero. That's why I trust Global Gold Investments. That number on the screen, 888-700-4148. Give them a call. Mention Next News. Receive their 5-star customer treatment along with a complimentary portfolio analysis. Remember, if you don't have gold, then you don't have wealth. We thank Global Gold for sponsoring this program and all of you who are sharing this link. Now let's get into it. We got this coming in from Real America's Voice just 1 hour ago. Law enforcement are now looking for a suspect who set off bombs near ballot boxes on the West Coast. Let's hear what they have to say.
Dale, so we're learning some new details about these devices. I know you and I spoke on the phone earlier today. Police did confirm that they were created by someone with, quote, a wealth of experience with welding, and that they were marked with the words "Free Gaza." So tell us more about how you're helping to track down whoever's behind this attack and what you think their motivation was.
Look, who knows what their motivation was, but this is clearly an attempt to interfere with the upcoming November election. And this is a complete act of domestic terrorism that we cannot stand for. My campaign and I were going to match the Portland Police Department's $2,400 reward, and we're going to match that at another $2,500 to bring that up to $5,000, because it's imperative that we have election security in Washington state, and we must bring these people and hold them to account.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also important to note that the majority of voters in both your state in Washington and in Oregon vote by mail or ballot drop box, right? The DHS released a bulletin earlier this year warning about exactly what we saw happen with these bombs. They say social media users have been planning to sabotage ballot drop boxes for months. So do you believe it was a strategic to target these ballot boxes in locations where they are the primary method for voters to make their voices heard?
Look, I mean, it's no surprise that in one of the, if not the most heated congressional race, Joe Kent against Marie Gluesenkamp Perez, it is the hottest congressional race. And it's make no mistake, this happened in that district for a reason.
Well, also, I mean, we're talking about Trump versus Kamala. So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons these people, and they're writing "Free Gaza" on the side of these bombs. I mean, that's a calling card. I'm surprised they didn't write MAGA on the side of it, though. Mark Weiermuller, he's a friend of mine. But he's not a friend enough to tag me in the tweet. I made sure he knew that in my reply. He posted this just 3 hours ago, asking a question: why are voting machines, computers, and ballots sitting in unsecured locations throughout Chicago, Illinois, and suburbs days before next Tuesday's election? This can be seen at Park District gyms, schools, churches all over Chicago. And he posts this photograph that he apparently took. Also, I have an update. Just the other day, you know, we reported on these military evacuation drills that were taking place with Black Hawk helicopters on Capitol Hill. Now, we have some more information regarding that. According to U.S. Civil Defense News, the U.S. military held an emergency senior leader evacuation drill 3 nights ago to prepare for a possible war with Russia and Iran. Blackhawks were seen flying in and out of D.C. Here's some of that footage. I mean, clearly this is a terrifying sight when you see Black Hawk helicopters on the front lawn of the U.S. Capitol building. And, of course, there were a lot of speculation. U.S. Civil Defense says it's because of a potential attack from Russia or Iran. You know, the cynical part of me says maybe they are expecting something more sinister related to the election. As you are well aware, the new DoD directive does allow for the use of lethal force against American citizens in the event of widespread protest. We covered that last week as well. So, in my opinion, is it Iran? Is it Russia? Certainly can be, but there's multiple reasons why they would need to evacuate the Capitol building. You know, if you go back to January 6th and they keep screaming insurrection, you know, is this in preparation for a potential January 6th sequel that they're, you know, anticipating or planning? I mean, how many more, operatives are they going to plant in that crowd to try to overwhelm the events of January 6th that's coming up? I don't know. I'm just throwing this out there. Just a question that needs to be asked, but that's what we know right now. Also, we have this election observer thrown out for not wearing a COVID mask. That's strange. I thought the pandemic was far from over, but you know, some people still live in that fear mentality. And of course, it is a means of control because it's clearly split along political lines. How many Republicans, Trump supporters, freedom lovers, patriots were like, you know what? I'm just not going to wear that mask. I am not going to do it. I'm not going to submit. I don't believe what they're telling me. I don't believe Dr. Fauci. I don't believe what's coming down from on high. So I'm not going to wear it. But of course, Democrats, they kneel before the state and they mask up, jab up, and they submit. You know, and then they shame you when you don't do it. But here we have now, this is just a day ago, election observer thrown out for not wearing a COVID mask. Here is the local news on this.
What's happening there now?
Well, now a cease and desist letter has been filed to get rid of that mask mandate. But elections officials, they say there's more to the story.
Oh, really?
A Republican Island County election observer was escorted out of this building for refusing to wear a mask. The Island County auditor, Sheila Kreider, says observer Tracy Abul had previously been told about this. Kreider said the masks are required because during the August primary, half the staff caught COVID. Not only that, she said masks and gloves can help them safely handle ballots and envelopes. The incident happened a few days later.
Wait. What did they say? Masks and gloves help them handle ballots? Did I hear that correctly? Let's roll that back a few seconds.
Help them safely handle ballots, and staff caught COVID. Not only that, she said masks and gloves can help them safely handle ballots and envelopes.
How does a mask help you handle a ballot? That's a new one for me. Is it on the side of the box? When you open up the the mask box, will also help you count ballots. Come on.
The incident happened a few days later.
This is where she was supposed to be.
Yes,
But she went in there without a mask.
that's correct.
Okay.
Election Supervisor Michelle Reagan showed us the hallway that Tracy could have stood in to watch the ballot inspection process.
Oh,
Nothing we do is a secret.
Michelle
oh, did you see that guy? Did you see that guy? He wasn't wearing a mask. Did you see that? The guy inside.
to watch the
Right there. He's not wearing a mask. Wow.
ballot inspection process.
Nothing we do is a secret.
Michelle said the observer was ultimately escorted out after remaining somewhere that she wasn't supposed to be if she didn't have a mask.
They weren't refusing her from watching the process play out, but she couldn't be in a specific section.
I believe it's the observer's position that the secondary location where they're telling her she can observe is not a clear line of sight.
It's because I stood there in that spot and I was able to observe what was going on.
It is her position. It is not a clear line of sight.
Representative Jim Walsh, chair of the Washington GOP, says regardless, this should have never happened and said they must remove that mask mandate.
Washington Administrative Code, the bureaucratic rules allow a county auditor to set the basic policies and rules of election observers. That's fine, but there is no specific allowance for requiring COVID masks at a time when there is no widespread outbreak of COVID.
Voters we talked with had mixed opinions.
What's the big deal? Like, just put it on.
They can't throw you out of somewhere today because you don't have a mask on, especially a voting place.
Wow. That guy's like, just put it on, man. Okay. Obviously, he's taking the advice of his wife's boyfriend. Yeah, so this was in Island County. The auditor, Sheila Kreider, refusing to let observers monitor part of the election process if they do not comply with her mask mandate, because supposedly half of the staff got COVID. And here's a picture of that guy. There he is. Here is the man who's clearly not wearing a mask. Must be some hell of an outbreak there. Oh, and of course, we're finding out now in Georgia, 24,000 plus previously canceled felons are now back on the current voter roll. How many suddenly turned in all of their paperwork? Looks like typical Georgia election identity theft to us. Yes, the dumpster fire continues. Here we have, this is an interesting video that just came out. Investigators have found the source of how illegals are getting registered to vote. Brian, take us on a vertical for this.
Information Center. I found the source of exactly where all these illegals are getting put on the voter rolls, and it's going to be made public very, very soon. And I'll tell you right now where it is. And it's an organization called the Electronic Registration Information Center. It's led by a guy named David Becker, who was involved in a scandal while he was a U.S. attorney, and he essentially contacted the city of Boston while he worked for the DOJ, and the DOJ sued Boston over voting rights, claiming that he would help them get out of it. He then worked for PFAW, the People for the American Way, a far-left organization. Then he went on to work for Pew. And with George Soros' money, he created an organization called the Electronic Registration Information Center, which is known as ERIC. And then ERIC contracts with the states to get your DMV records, all that sensitive data that nobody else can get, that's protected under the Driver's Privacy Protection Act. That's where they're finding out the ineligible voters. That's where they're finding out who in the state isn't registered to vote. And their membership agreement prohibits you from disclosing to them who is or is not a citizen. So you send all the information to people that live there. Don't tell them if they're citizens or not. And they pump those names onto the voter rolls, and then they circulate it back. And then they give it to the other organization David Becker found, which is the Center for Election Innovation and Research, which is the recipient of all those Zucker bucks from back in 2020.
That was Mike Yoder. He is an awesome attorney. Yeah, you don't want to mess with that guy. And I'm glad he helped uncover that very important point of what's happening in this election. Brian, go back horizontal. We're finding out now just 4 hours ago in a 6-3 decision, the Supreme Court blocked the U.S. District Judge Patricia Tolliver-Giles' order to restore approximately 1,600 non-citizens to Virginia's voter rolls. So some good news out of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court halting attempt to restore non-citizens to Virginia voter rolls. Why? Why would you ever have a non-citizen on a voter roll to begin with? It's only if you want to steal an election. It's only if you want illegal votes. And thank God the Supreme Court saw through the mess and voted in this favor. Election integrity victory. Supreme Court overrules Biden judge who ordered Virginia to put illegals back on the voter rolls. U.S. Supreme Court ruled Virginia will be allowed to continue its purge of suspected non-citizens from voter rolls. The state has removed the names of 1,600 individuals who are believed to be not U.S. citizens. So this was another big story trending today. Just a few hours ago, that news broke. Supreme Court allowing Virginia to resume voter registration purge. New CNN polls show Harris and Trump neck and neck in Georgia and North Carolina. Comcast considers spinning out cable networks. I'm not sure what that's related to. I guess we have a clip here. Let's take a look from what Fox is saying here.
I'm incredibly pleased with the decision today, and the Supreme Court reacted quickly. I want to thank our Attorney General, Jason Miyares, and his team's amazing work. And this is a victory for common sense.
Yeah, we need common sense back in this country, and it looks like finally we're seeing just a little bit of it. Continuing on, here is what's happening in Kentucky, folks. Brian, go horizontal on this. I'm sorry, vertical. Kentucky voting machines are refusing to let voters select Donald Trump's name, automatically selecting Kamala Harris instead. Do you see this? Look at this. Watch. He is picking. Right there, you can see he is picking Donald Trump, and it's going for Kamala Harris. Look at that. And they clear it out, and they go back and do it again. You pick Donald Trump. You can't even pick it for this guy here. Eventually, what's going on? Can't even choose it. Wow. And it goes for Kamala Harris right there in real time. And that is why I am encouraging everybody to film your vote if it is legal in your precinct, so that we can get a record of moments like this. This was published by the Right Angle News Network. Some friends of ours over there on X. If you're not following us on X, make sure you do. Brian, go back to horizontal. We've got some more news to get to on this topic. A Trump voter, look at this. A Trump voter assaulted by South Carolina polling station workers during an argument over his MAGA hat. This comes just a day after Biden called half of the country garbage, and no one in Kamala's campaign disavowed it. Go vertical. Let's go start from the beginning.
You fucking bitch. That's no reason? Yeah, all that sir. Wow. This is my motherfucking right here. Wow. Why is it defending you? It's like defending me. All right, then shut the hell up and let me vote. Okay, Jamie. Okay, we ain't got nothing else to say. Wow. Next thing.
Where are they voting? In Home Depot? What's with the orange aprons? Sorry.
There it is right there.
Wow. Oh, wow, God. Oh.
Don't do that.
Wow. 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 I'm not going to help with him. You may want to help with him.
You know, okay, so first of all, you know, I really hope that he was able to cast his ballot. It just says he was assaulted. It's not that he was escorted out. Some would argue that this is electioneering, because technically you're not supposed to be wearing any sort of candidate's swag in or around a voting location, which I just think is a ridiculous rule. And these Home Depot workers clearly were, I mean, of course I'm kidding, they're not Home Depot workers, but are totally triggered that he's got a Trump hat on and he wasn't going to take it. And he tossed his hat, and then looks like he got slapped and pushed around by those ladies there, the childless cat ladies. What else have we got? Rasmussen reports Michigan, Brian, horizontal. Michigan, one voter ID with 29 separate votes already. Oh, yeah, nothing wrong there. All good. Move along. Look away. Nothing to see here. Pure Michigan. One voter ID with 29 separate votes. How does that happen? Here's the picture of it. One voter ID. How does that happen? And there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 different addresses assigned to this voter ID. But they have how many votes? 29 separate votes. That doesn't stink. I don't know what does. Clearly, something is wrong here. And now remember that story about what was going on in Colorado with the voting machine passwords being leaked online, and nobody said anything for days. Well, now the Colorado Secretary of State, Jenna Griswold, yes, the same Secretary of State that tried getting Donald Trump kicked off the ballot. Well, she tried to cover up how her office leaked the passwords for voting systems until she was eventually called out. Libs of TikTok points out that this is the same person who sent voter registration mailers to 30,000 non-citizens, messaged voters to vote after they already voted, and tried to remove Trump from the ballot. This woman is totally incompetent and must resign. Let's listen to her reaction.
2021. Secretary Griswold told me today that she had not decided whether to tell you, the public, about that password leak before she got called out on it publicly today. I asked Secretary Griswold whether she takes responsibility for this election security breach in the same way that she has held others accountable. And we discussed a string of errors by her office that can damage voter confidence.
To be very clear, we do not see this as a full security threat to the state. This is not a security threat.
You do frequent media interviews warning of the insider threats to elections. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security defines an insider threat as somebody who uses authorized access wittingly or unwittingly to do harm. Did the actions of your office pose an insider threat to elections?
No.
In 2021, when Mesa County's voting system passwords leaked, your office said, quote, the public disclosure of the BIOS passwords for one or more components of Mesa County's voting system alone constitutes a serious breach of voting system security protocols. By that standard, did your office commit a serious breach of voting system security protocols?
Well, to push back on you, Kyle, that sentence is in the press release, but there is a much bigger press release. And part of that investigation in Mesa County was 2 sets of passwords, unauthorized access, stolen passwords, and it was in a different time. Since 2021 and what happened in Mesa County, our security has improved, including the 24/7 hour cameras, including the badge and access. The law has been significantly strengthened since then. We have multiple layers in place to ensure situations like Mesa County don't occur, and that is not what is occurring here.
This is not the first time that your office has made mistakes that have damaged voters' confidence in our elections. In 2022, your office sent out mailers to 30,000 non-citizens inviting them to register to vote. They, of course, are not eligible to register to vote. That same year, your office used Colorado's ballot tracking system to send messages to specific Coloradans encouraging them to vote when, in fact, they had already voted, causing confusion that had to be cleaned up by the county clerks. And now,
I mean, what's with all the blinking, man? Like, she just won't stop blinking. It's creeping me out. Sorry.
This leak of the voting system passwords. Given your office's repeated errors that have damaged confidence in our elections, which you say is paramount, will you resign?
Absolutely not, Kyle. And I just want to, you're unfairly characterizing and leaving out some crucial information.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
We came out immediately and said a postcard had been sent out to people who are ineligible. The postcard clearly stated that someone had to be a U.S. citizen. No one tried to register from that group of people. We were actively tracking it. And it became a situation where no one registered. And to push back even further, Kyle, Colorado is tied for #1 in confidence in the country in our elections. We have stood up to situations time and time again to protect the right of Coloradans, going over and beyond what anybody would ask of civil servants in this office.
Yeah, no, I think it's time for her to resign in shame. How many mistakes can you have and it's acceptable? Oh, we sent out a postcard. Well, the damage is done. Okay? It's like you go out, you put out a lie and nobody hears the the truth afterwards. The correction happens all the time. I'm sure she doesn't care though. Obviously she doesn't care. We got more to get to. That's just Colorado. Let's take a look at what's going on. Okay, here we have update 2024 election. Someone sent this photo to MJ Truth Ultra, a room full of voting machine equipment kept in an unsecured room. This is San Pablo Creek Regional Library in Jacksonville, Florida. And the source had this to say, that they were there for a weekly chess club, but the meeting was canceled. They instead found this room full of voting machines with the doors wide open. The picture was taken at the community room at the San Pablo Creek Regional Library in Jacksonville, which is an early voting location. Anyone could have walked in off the street and could have had unauthorized access to voting machines. Quote, there was no one in there. The door was unlocked and open. I went to the front desk and asked about the chess club. He told me it was canceled until after the election. I said, if those are the voting machines and equipment, then shouldn't the door be locked? He said, it's not. I said, no. I just walked in off the street looking for the chess club, and he ran to go lock up the doors. Clearly, this should be investigated. And those machines and whatever equipment in that room need to be thoroughly checked to see if they were tampered with. We should not have election machines so accessible to the public like this. And here they are, all just hanging out. Anybody could just go and insert a USB drive and, black box voting the whole thing. Continuing with more of the things that we've discovered. This was this was from Ann Vandersteel, and this was 6 days ago. But if you didn't hear about it, you need to know. Mass reports of voting machine problems. All age groups are reporting that the express vote machines are flipping votes. Issues found at polls in Palm Beach County, Florida. Votes are being changed by the machine. 4 or more tries of touching the candidate's name button to select them. Voters have reported that due to the small font on the printed express vote ballots, they have trouble confirming their votes, waiting extraordinarily long times when requesting paper ballots. And here is the video that was attached.
Okay, so now the trick. So equal chance to get a ballot or a touchscreen. Was it harder for one or the other? Easier?
They gave us a little hassle saying that they're both paper. And I was like, well, I want the paper one. They're like, okay.
Okay.
And it just kind of.
Okay, dissuade.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's the general consensus. They're trying to dissuade people. Thank you. You requested your paper ballot, and what happened?
Location that came to get a paper ballot. Went to every booth, voting booth. There was not a pen in sight.
No pens. Okay, so now the trick is no pens. Thanks.
Here with Daniel Zapata, candidate for Florida House. And Daniel, what were you being told earlier by people who were trying to vote?
So I had one gentleman who went to vote and told me he waited 2 hours because he was requested a paper ballot and he had to wait 2 hours for that ballot.
And was there a line at that time?
There was a bit of a line, but not astronomically long. But there was a long break.
Okay. Well, now they're saying half an hour, but luckily, a lot more people are requesting paper ballots. All right. Thank you.
Ann Vandersteel breaking that news. File complaints for voting machine issues at unitedforfreedom.com. Let's see what else have we got here. I believe there was another story that there were people who were handicapped, who were having extreme difficulty voting. And I got to find more information on that. Brian Kennedy, though, states that Kamala knows the machines are not trustworthy. Paper ballots, she says. Now, this is from 2019. Kamala Harris says, paper ballots are the smartest, safest way to ensure your vote is secure against attacks by foreign actors. Russia can't hack a piece of paper like they can a computer. We introduced the Secure Elections Act to ensure our elections are safeguarded. We must be ready. So even Kamala Harris back in 2019 was advocating for paper ballots. But of course, you can't have that now. And you see these guys in Palm Beach having a difficulty being dissuaded from having paper ballots. Oh, yeah, here's Kamala Harris. This is this is it.
Where we recently also,
This is June 21st, 2019, Kamala Harris.
held a demonstration for my colleagues here at the Capitol, where we brought in folks who, before our eyes, hacked election machines. Those that are being used in many states, but are not state of the art from our perspective.
We're very concerned because there's only 3 companies. You could easily hack into them. It makes it seem like all these states are doing different things, but in fact, 3 companies are controlling them.
43% of American voters use voting machines that researchers have found have serious security flaws, including backdoors. These companies are accountable to no one. They won't answer basic questions about their cybersecurity practices, and the biggest companies won't answer any questions at all. 5 states have no paper trail, and that means there is no way to prove the numbers the voting machines put out are legitimate. So much for cybersecurity 101.
So here's the thing, folks. This is what I think needs to be done. Remember back in school? Remember those Scantron cards? You'd take a test, and it was, A, B, C, D, E, multiple choice. You had to have your number 2 pencil, and you had to write and fill in the little bubble. Well, how did they read the Scantron cards? They took the Scantron cards and they ran them through a machine that was an optical reader that would tabulate your test score. Very simple. Now, that would make it a lot easier to tabulate votes. I mean, a very analog method of tabulating votes, not these digital machines that people can inject USB cards into and hack the code. Very different when you have a very analog method to count votes, and then you can still have a machine count, but it would be an analog system that you couldn't hack. Problem solved. But these voting machine companies, they get millions upon millions of dollars in contracts from Democrats or Republicans or whoever's contracting with these people. They lobby. Oh, this is the greatest machine ever. But if it's so great, how come they're so easy to be hacked? Even back in 2019, Kamala Harris advocating for paper ballots. The one and only way out of this mess is to make it too big to rig. So if you haven't voted yet, make sure you vote early. Now back to this crazy 29 separate votes. It looks like James Blair states that their team is in touch with the MD Perno, and we're reviewing the observations and we'll take any action necessary for review. Okay, so here's another thing. Dominion machines affected nationwide. Listen to this.
This is a nationwide.
Issues with the programming of the bats with specific
Yes.
from Dominion.
Mm-hmm.
Why was that only caught in the past few days, and why can't it be fixed? I saw the release with the
Yeah, this is a nationwide issue with Dominion voter access terminals in the counties that use them. And the voter access terminals, of course, not all the machines, just the ones that are accessible, have an issue with the straight party voting and a programming issue that's, again, affected the machines nationwide. And I think all of us that use Dominion machines were unhappy to learn about.
So if you vote a straight party ticket, the machine can't tabulate your vote correctly? I mean, who's coding these things?
This during the testing period and as early voting began. So we're working with Dominion to seek accountability on that front, and also are working with our clerks to ensure voters are aware of this programming issue that will require them to ensure they are voting every section on the ballot.
Do you think it's a bigger issue in Michigan because we do allow voters to cross over in ways that a lot of other states don't?
Because we have straight party. It's not struck me as I've talked to my other colleagues in other states. They're just as upset about it as we are. So, yeah, of course.
I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing at all. Now we're also finding out that Jim Jordan is on the case. Jim Jordan now pressing YouTube on censorship of Joe Rogan's Trump interview. The committee demands answers on why YouTube suppressed Joe Rogan's October 25th interview with President Trump. Here's the letter that was sent to Sundar Pichai, the chief executive officer of Alphabet. So that was a big thing happened when the Rogan interview was released. People couldn't search and find it. Others indicated it was flagged as some kind of low quality spam, and it was suppressed for that reason because of a mass flagging effort. Others speculate that it was because the producers at the Joe Rogan Experience actually made a mistake, made the video unlisted, but added it to a playlist, and then it was leaked out through the playlist, but still unlisted, so it wasn't searchable. So when word spread of the video being released, when they searched for it, they couldn't find it. And even if you went to Joe Rogan's own channel, you wouldn't find it because it's unlisted. However, you'd find it in the playlist. So Jim Jordan, though, wants to get some serious answers about that, most likely related to the mass flagging. And of course, we covered this a couple days ago, and we just played you that clip earlier about the Colorado voting machine passwords being leaked online by the Democrat Secretary of State. Over 600 passwords for machines in 63 of the state's 64 counties were posted for anyone to see. So a lot of hanky-panky going on. Here we have John Creeman's USA. It's being reported that Colorado voting machine passwords were leaked online by the Democrat Secretary of State for anyone to see. Good news, though, out of the Supreme Court, Virginia is going to be permitted to continue purging voter rolls. Here's something else that I saw this too. Check this out. Trump's name spelled wrong. And the question's being asked, is nobody concerned that Virginia voting machines have Trump's name spelled wrong? I mean, could that have an adverse effect on the tabulation? Let's see here.
This was a voter in Virginia 4 days ago. Why is there an I in Donald J. Trump's name?
Back up, and then when you put it in,
just like this?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait and see if it tells you if it's
okay.
It lets you know that you voted the way you wanted to. Can you see?
Yes. Yes.
Look at that. Do you see that?
We need, right?
And you have to do
TRIUMP. What? That's pretty obvious spelling error. Is that going to hurt the turnout? Is that going to hurt the tabulation?
Page 2, because you voted the back side. There should be a way to say next or something.
Yes.
And then
wow.
You should be able to cast your vote.
Okay.
And you got a ding. You're official.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a great day.
You can leave this way.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so again, this is why it's so important to record your vote, to get instances like this caught on camera. Donald J. Triumph, a voter in Virginia 4 days ago. Why is there an I in Donald Trump's name? Holy cow. Here's another person who voted early. Let's see what she had to say. Brian, you can go vertical with this.
Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Peggy D in the house. I just wanted to say I voted early. President Trump said vote early. I voted early. So I voted for President Donald J. Trump. Period. And J.D. Vance. There's no other choice for me. So I'm here in Harlem. We really need voter ID. But there was nobody that was close trying to politic. There's no drop boxes. There's no anything like that. So New York doesn't have that. New York City doesn't have that. A bunch of people came in with some T-shirts on, but it wasn't Kamala and anything like that. But they were going to vote for her probably. But people were taking their time because there were some amendments, Proposition 1, which people here are so dumb they're probably going to vote it in, but it gives the children the ability to get surgery and to make decisions about themselves without their parents' consent. So I don't think people really understand that, but they've been pushing it. Vote yes. I voted no on that, of course, but Anyway, we really need voter ID, so hopefully we can get that. And Democrats are cheating like crazy. It's all, but this time we're catching them.
Yep.
And it's a different vibe right now. And so we're pieces of garbage floating in the water. Now we have another name. Let's wear it with pride, because Biden is projecting on himself. He's the garbage. This whole administration is garbage. Kamala's rally was filled with protesters chanting whatever. Just that's all that she could get. I know she had to fill it up with somebody, so she got her protesters and all that kind of stuff. So it's just madness. Everybody just keep your head on your shoulders, keep your head on the swivel. Anything could happen between now and election day and afterwards, because it will. And in the end, we will win. It's probably get a little crazy and bumpy, but we'll win in the end. All right, so love you all. Vote, vote, vote. Fight, fight, fight. Let's go. Peace and blessings. Let's go. Let's make the world a better place.
Oh, man. I love that message. I love that message so much. Oh, man. It hits me right here. Oh, God bless her. God bless her. My friends, the evidence is overwhelming. From leaked passwords to malfunctioning machines to misspelled names, from unsecured ballots to suspicious voter file glitches. But here's the question they don't want us asking. Why are election officials discovering these problems now, just days before one of the most crucial elections in American history? Tell us in the comments. Do you trust the integrity of our election systems? Have you experienced any issues with early voting in your area? Drop a comment and let us know. All right. Let's check in with chat and see what everybody is saying on this topic. Years ago, we didn't have these voting problems, so why now, is asking B Cats. Linda Reed, missed that one. The Fox, paying influencers $50,000 to attend and blog a Kamala rally. Yeah, that's what they're doing. The ballot won't be counted due to the name misspelling. It's misspelled by design. Ellen says, just mayhem. I'm dressing as a garbage can full of needles and a sign that reads Hunter's trash can. I'm trash, brah. Mike Taylor News. He says they think they can make everything look opposite, make it look like themselves fighting, but it worked a little bit on some people. Fun and James. And I say women as a compliment, totally assumed her gender. Let's see. TX period. Gary, did you see Pennsylvania showed election results during Grand Prix on screen? Yeah, actually, that was, I believe, it was actually in my lineup, and I was supposed to play that. For some reason, all these bookmarked tweets that I have don't always show up. I'm not sure why, but yeah, that was actually on the list to cover. I did see that. Let's see, we had Dak, the Tauntaun. My folks told me when they went to vote early, my dad wore a Trump hat and a veteran shirt. He was asked to remove the hat. I'm sure if it was a Harris hat, they wouldn't have said or did anything. Yeah, probably so. Marna, thanks, Gary. I think it's so screwed up. We're going to have to do a redo. And checking to see if there are super chats today. No super chats. Strange. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's see. We have Misfits. Guess what time it is, says Running Bear. Yes, it's time to drop your super chats and support the show. Okay, we've got take out the paper in the trash. You don't get any spending cash. Let's see. Trump Vance, says Susie Vale. Trump or bust, says Robert. Blessings in the name of Jesus. Amen. Wouldn't be here without Jesus. All right, let's head into topic segment number 2. Speaking of garbage, let's talk about that. Okay. The political elite made a catastrophic mistake. When Biden called Trump supporters garbage, he thought he was delivering an insult. Instead, he ignited a movement. President Trump's response, well, he showed up in Wisconsin with a massive MAGA garbage truck, wearing an orange vest, standing shoulder to shoulder with America's working class. Vivek Ramaswamy also joined on a garbage route, and women across the nation are rising up against Mark Cuban's attacks on women. The establishment wanted to demean half of America, and guess what? They only made them stronger. So you know what's really criminal? Out there on America's roads, thousands of drivers are left vulnerable without video evidence to protect them. Just like Trump supporters are fighting back against being called garbage, you need to fight back against false accusations on the road. That's why I trust CarVision X, the most advanced dash cam system available with 4K resolution, night vision, 24/7 security monitoring. It's like having a guardian angel for your vehicle. Don't let yourself be a victim. Visit carvisionx.com now and use code MAGA for free shipping and special bonus package. Okay, let's see what we've got going on in this story. Okay, we're going to play the garbage comments in a minute. I'm sure you've probably seen it, but we're going to play it. But this Mark Cuban is now like, I don't know what it is with the Democrats, why they just choose to continually insult half the country. That's just what they do. You're deplorable. You cling on to your Bibles and your guns. But this is what Mark Cuban said. He's getting a lot of pushback from a lot of women. Let's listen.
Donald Trump, you never see him around strong, intelligent women, ever. It's just that simple.
Really? Okay. Well, what about this one?
Calling all of... Okay, guys, check this out. First, we have Joe Biden calling all of
So this is Marjorie Taylor Greene firing back at Cuban.
us garbage. Now Mark Cuban has come out and said that there's no strong, intelligent women supporting Trump. Wait, hang on. I got to fit in this set.
What is it? 4, 5, 6. Okay.
Here's the problem with Mark Cuban. He suffers from low testosterone. The guy looks just like Rachel Maddow. And here's his issue. He's actually intimidated by strong, intelligent women like me. Graduated from UGA with a business degree. I run a very successful construction company in Georgia. And now I'm going on my 3rd term in Congress. I love guns, especially AR-15s, and I support President Trump. Mark, I suggest you get some HRT and hit the gym.
She's calling Cuban, saying he's got low T. Oh, man. Here is this is from Trump War Room. Top Kamala surrogate Mark Cuban's insinuation that female Trump supporters are weak and stupid is not going over well.
To apologize. And look, I don't know where Mark Cuban is today, but as a woman, I have questions. I want to know, are you big enough, are you man enough to apologize and take responsibility for what you've said?
I doubt it. The audacity behind that comment, the hubris behind it, the cavalier quality, how easily it rolled off his tongue, that he could, with a broad brush, afforded a billionaire, a reality TV star, to say to all of those who served in the military, in the administration with Donald Trump, those incredible, strong, intelligent female leaders, the best of us, the treasure, that they are not strong, that they are unintelligent, and to say it with a straight face, thinking it would be applauded. That is garbage.
Look, I don't know.
Oh, the fallout keeps coming. Here is Moms for America, Real Kim Fletcher. She's the founder. She's got a message for Mark Cuban. Listen.
Is that. So Mark Cuban just said that smart, intelligent women are never seen with President Trump. How insulting is that? I am the president and founder of Moms for America. I am a smart, intelligent woman, and I absolutely stand with President Trump because I am a smart, intelligent woman.
Ha ha! Suck it, Cuban. Oh, here's another one.
Mark Cuban just said that he's never seen President Donald Trump around strong and intelligent women. Well, game on, buddy. I'll take you on any day in a debate or maybe even arm wrestling. Mark Cuban just said that he's...
Wow, Kristi Noem. Keeping it real. Maybe lay off the Botox, though. A little bit too much, I think, but still beautiful. Okay, here we have Elise Stefanik firing back, too.
Million Americans.
Just one day after Joe Biden smeared 250 million Americans as garbage, now Mark Cuban, Kamala Harris's top ally, says no strong and intelligent women support Trump. It's a disgrace, and Kamala Harris stays silent. She must be defeated in 5 days to save America. I'm proud to be the highest ranking woman in the United States Congress. When I ran, I was the youngest woman ever elected. I'm the most senior woman on the House Armed Services Committee, the House Intelligence Committee, and I proudly am voting and endorse President Trump. Save America in 5 days. Vote Trump.
Yeah.
Just one day after
Mark Cuban, he clearly stepped in it with his remarks. The MAGA women are firing back. Also, did you see this? Yeah, this creeped everybody out. Joe Biden loves the taste of babies. Did you see this? All these videos and pictures of him nibbling on children at the White House Halloween festival. Brian, go vertical with this next one because we need to make sure everybody sees. This is the video I posted about 21 hours ago. Look at him at the end there. And this is why you got to follow us on X, because you're going to see things before we publish them here. But this shot at the end of him, look at him. It looks like he's like gagging, like something's wrong. He's like, ugh. He just put a baby's foot in his mouth 3 times. I can't believe I'm even saying this. I mean, the guy had a problem with sniffing children before, but now he's actually ingesting their socks, putting their feet in his mouth. What the heck? I mean, I don't know what's going on there. He's like gagging. He's like, maybe there's like, ugh. It's just disgusting. That's the commander-in-chief, everybody. We're going to continue here on this. The Biden, go back to a horizontal, Brian. With respect to this garbage remark, we'll go back to that now because there's a lot of fallout from this. We're going to show you some of Trump's comments and, you know, him trolling. You may not have seen it yet. Epic troll from Trump. But the Oversight Committee just a day ago, Biden-Harris White House may have actually violated the law by altering President Biden's garbage remarks in the official transcript. House Republican Conference Chairwoman Elise Stefanik and Oversight Chairman James Comer are raising concerns because they placed an apostrophe after garbage, or after the word supporters, so it would change the context of the language. That stating that Joe Biden was talking about the garbage of the supporters, and not that the supporters are garbage. Okay, but when you listen to what he said, it's clearly not what the transcript would have you believe. We'll play those remarks in a moment, but New York Post has this front page 12 hours ago. Trump rides in a big, beautiful MAGA garbage truck after Biden attack on his supporters. Trump takes out the trash. Rolls out in garbage truck after Biden's voter slur. Here we have Karine Jean-Pierre. Nick Sortor posting that Karine Jean-Pierre, while dressed as a piece of Laffy Taffy, says Biden was not calling Trump supporters garbage, even though it's literally on video. Let's see what Karine Jean-Pierre, let's see her spin this.
And what he was trying to say.
Does he think less of Americans who support Trump than he does of those who do not? Yeah. And 2, why is he using that kind of rhetoric? How is that presidential?
So a couple of things. So just to clarify, he was not calling Trump supporters garbage, which is why he this is why he wanted to make sure that we put out a statement that clarified what he meant and what he was trying to say. And so just want to make that very clear for folks who are watching.
Does he think less of Americans who support Trump than he...
Karine Jean-Pierre, she is the queen of deception and the queen of spin. right there in the White House briefing room. Here is, this was so epic. Oh, man. Okay, so of course, you know, we saw Trump. We're going to play Trump in a moment with his orange vest and going out on the rally and all. But seeing Vivek Ramaswamy do it, Ramaswamy's literally taking out the trash. Working a shift as a garbage man after Biden called MAGA supporters garbage.
All right. Let's do it, man. I got it.
You got it?
Yeah. Tell me, what are we doing here?
Right up to the left.
Okay. Right up to here.
Come up. Turn around. Pretty much right there. Always lift the lid open.
Wait, is it on?
Yeah.
All right, sweet. Lift open. And then what are we doing?
Pull them both out.
Pull them both out. Doing it right? Pull this one back too, or you good?
Yeah, you're good right now.
Sweet.
All the way up.
Pretty good machinery, actually. It kind of works. Should I pull it back again?
Now just pull. This goes up.
Should I pull it?
Yeah, pull it out.
Pull it out?
Yeah. Push it in and it'll come back out.
All right, man. Let's do it. Thank you.
You know, I got mad respect for garbage men. You know, I know the stuff that we toss out, and sometimes it is nasty and maggots and flies. And, I mean, Vivek Ramaswamy going out there and doing the dirty work is pretty epic. Here we have C.J. Pearson. I saw him speak at Mar-a-Lago, kind of an impromptu thing about a week ago. Epic, but here's what he has to say about the garbage remarks.
So do millions. Last night, Joe Biden called millions of people of color in this country pieces of garbage. Now, some of you at home may be thinking to yourself, no, he was talking about Trump supporters, and I would respond to you that those two things are one and the same. Because millions of black people support Donald Trump. I'm one of them. So do millions of Latinos, Jews, Asians, and so many other folks from many other diverse communities. Because contrary to what the media and the left would have you to believe about the MAGA movement, we're actually not a gaggle of Nazis and Klansmen. Because as you can see, I'm not eligible for membership in any of those organizations. Not a single damn one. And what's awfully ironic, too, about these comments is that the man who literally has made our country and every single major city in this country into an actual landfill has the audacity to call us garbage. No. If loving your country, though, makes you garbage, then call me garbage. If believing that America deserves better makes me garbage, then call me garbage. And if being proud to support Donald J. Trump to be the next president of these United States because my generation deserves better makes me garbage, then call me garbage.
Oh, the backlash is severe against Joe Biden, and the hits keep coming. Here are the actual remarks. You can see the transcript changes the entire meaning of what he actually says. Watch.
The only garbage I see floating out there is supporters. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Uh-huh. Yeah, his supporters are garbage. But when they add the apostrophe before the S, it makes the garbage possessive. So they're trying to make it sound like he was talking about the supporters garbage, but we know what he meant. Okay? And now the backlash is huge. Democrats called half our country garbage. Here is Byron Donalds out there that moment when Donald Trump was going into, there's Donald Trump in the garbage truck. Epic photograph. Donald Trump in his reflective garbage man's vest. And here he is with, looks like a garbage man in the garbage truck. Oh, and there's more. We have more. Here, okay, so here's more video. This is that moment when Biden was nibbling on this child at the event, the Halloween event. Clearly a very scary moment for this child. President Trump is mingling with garbage men at his rally in Wisconsin. Meanwhile, Joe Biden is literally biting babies at the White House Halloween party. Yes, we are living in an alternate timeline. Here's the moment that Vivek Ramaswamy showed up in the garbage truck. Look at him. He's like, yeah, baby, I'm here. Yes, it wasn't just Trump. Vivek Ramaswamy became a professional garbage collector. When I saw that video of the vac on the back of a garbage truck, I almost lost it. Because, like, I mean, Trump, he went to McDonald's, he does all these things, but I just did not expect to see the vac do it too. All right. Okay, so we're finding out now, yes, that the Harris-Biden White House may have actually broken the law by altering the official transcript after Biden called Trump supporters garbage, according to the House Oversight Committee. The House Oversight Committee is now demanding the White House retain and preserve all documents and internal communications related to President's statements and release of the inaccurate transcript. Altering the transcript is a blatant violation of the Presidential Records Act, and we need accountability immediately. And of course, you listen to the audio, and you can clearly hear him call Trump supporters garbage. We'll play it again here.
People, the only, or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Yeah, we know what you meant there, buddy. We know exactly what you meant. No amount of doctoring transcripts is going to change the fact that we have you on video. And, of course, the White House digs themselves a deeper hole. Here is, let's see, we got some more clips here. This is, oh, yeah, we got so much more. Look at this. Here is, this is also, all these things are happening at the same time, right? Here's Kamala Harris having a fit during her rally.
I am speaking. Look, everybody has a right to be heard, but right now I am speaking. Look, everybody has a right.
Oh yeah, she getting angry because the event descended into chaos.
Out of let me say something. We are 6 days out of an election. We are 6 days away from an election. And ours is about a fight for democracy and your right to be heard. Let me say something.
Oh yeah, the crowd got pretty unruly. Here she is getting interrupted.
As your president, I pledge to seek common ground and common sense solutions to the challenges you face.
Yeah, the problem with Kamala is that when they bus in all of these people and they don't properly vet them, they're bound to get some protesters in there. And the thing about the people that protest Kamala's rallies, it's like Trump supporters aren't going to show up and start disrupting. It's just something we don't do. We really don't have time for it. We're either working or we're with our family. Or we're doing other things that are more important than wasting our time at a Kamala Harris rally. So the people that do go and protest Kamala Harris rallies are people who are like in love with Gaza and the Palestinian movement and all that thing. So then they go and they start disrupting. They start screaming genocide and they start doing all this. That's just like the left always is fighting their own people. It's so funny to watch. I am speaking. Here is a top Kamala surrogate, Bill Clinton, making an admission. Same day as Kamala's out there on the stump and Vivek's riding garbage trucks and Trump's riding garbage trucks. Here's Bill Clinton.
I don't think it's right to say that people have to vote for Donald Trump because the economy is better there. I don't believe.
There he says it. He admits the economy was better under President Trump. Brett Favre, how do you say? I don't follow sports. Brett Favre? I'm going to get roasted in the comments now. This is what he says about Kamala. This was at the Wisconsin rally.
It would be insane to give Kamala 4 more years in office. So it's time to bench Kamala and put in the star quarterback.
Yeah.
Thank you. It would be.
Oh, yes, the hits keep coming. Here's Trump about to get off Trump Force One, head to the Make America Great Again rally.
Hello, everybody. This is Donald Trump, and 250 million people are not garbage.
That's right. Donald Trump knows it, and CNN actually had to break away to cover the moment.
You for a moment. Stand by for a moment. Trump is answering some questions from reporters.
Joe Biden, to make that statement, it's really a disgrace.
Trump in the garbage truck. Here's this is, if you look on your screen now, the only garbage that I see floating out there is his supporters. They added the apostrophe, and I know it might be a little hard to see because it's highlighted.
There's his supporters.
But you can see it. By adding the apostrophe, they make it possessive. So the garbage, they're trying to pretend that he's talking about the supporters' garbage and not the supporters being garbage. But
his deep or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we know what you meant there, pal. So here we have Kamala Harris. This is an interesting moment on ABC News where she's actually getting confronted about this.
A petty you are promising to bring people together, even people you disagree with. You say, well, have a seat at the table. How do you convince Trump supporters of that, though, when you're calling their candidate a would-be dictator, a petty tyrant?
I am talking to everyone as an American.
You are promising.
What does that even mean, Kamala? How can you bring people together when you routinely smear and insult President Trump and his supporters? I'm talking to everyone. You know what, Kamala? Go back to the nightclub. Here she is again. I think this is another angle.
Here's how I think about it. I really want to bring our country together.
Yeah, no, you don't. I highly disagree with that. Here it is.
This truck, how do you like my garbage truck? This truck is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden.
This is in honor of Kamala and Joe Biden. As Joe Biden is biting babies and ingesting their feet, and Bill Clinton is admitting that the Trump economy was better. Kamala's rallies getting disrupted. Byron Donalds pointing out that Obama called us clingers, Hillary called us deplorables, Kamala called us fascists, Biden just called us garbage. They don't respect us and they don't want unity, but we do. Yep. Kamala's events getting disrupted by her own party. Vivek taken to the garbage trucks. Here is Trump at the rally breaking it down.
Garbage. And I have to begin by saying 250 million Americans are not garbage.
Yeah.
This week, Kamala has been comparing her political opponents to the most evil mass murderers in history. And now, speaking on a call for her campaign last night, crooked Joe Biden finally said what he and Kamala really think of our supporters. He called them garbage. No way. No way. And they actually mean it, even though, without question, my supporters are far higher quality than Crooked Joe or Lion Kamala. Higher quality. My response to Joe and Kamala is very simple. You can't lead America if you don't love Americans. That's true. You can't be president if you hate the American people, which I believe they do. And I have to begin by saying 250 million Americans are not garbage.
They are not garbage at all. Ain't that true? Oh, wow. What an amazing dumpster fire we're witnessing at the Kamala Harris campaign. No amount of White House spin can spin this. Oh, we've got another clip here. This is President Trump telling how the story of the garbage truck and the vest came to be. Let's listen.
She said deplorable. So this outfit, you know, is when he called us all garbage. How stupid. What a stupid word. That blows deplorable a way, don't you think? Of course, I thought irredeemable when she said deplorable or irredeemable. I thought irredeemable was actually worse, but deplorable seemed to catch up. But this garbage stuff blows it away. So I'm in this beautiful plane. I'm enjoying myself. I have a wonderful suit on. And one of my people came in and said, "Sir, you know, the word garbage is the hottest thing right now out there. The hottest thing out there. Sir, would you like to drive a garbage truck?" Now, we're about, 30 minutes from landing. We had to do this pretty quick. I said, "It's sort of cool, though, isn't it? Because, And I said, I think that's okay, but, I don't feel comfortable wearing a suit." And they pulled up this garbage truck. I don't know how the hell they did it so fast. I have very capable people. They put a big sign on the truck. Did you see it? I think they showed it. Yeah. And then they said, "Sir, we have a vest." I said, "Well, should I leave my suit on and put it over the vest?" But that doesn't look very good, right? That doesn't look good. So I said, "All right, look, let me take it off." And then I actually said, I climbed into the truck, but so I said, "How the hell do you get into this truck? It's way up high. It's a big one." This was a beauty. I said, "You didn't have to buy it that big, right? You have to get it that big?" They brought this brand new, gorgeous truck, wonderful driver. He looked like Cary Grant in his prime. You know who that is? This beautiful driver. And he drove that big thing up. And I said, "Man, this is bad, because now I have all the cameras are all watching. Look at all the fake news. They were, most of them." No, most of them, many of them were there. And I'm saying, oh, boy. One little mistake with these guys and your political career's over. You can't even. So I said, man, if I don't get up there, this is going to be very embarrassing. These stupid people, they'll say, he's cognitively and physically impaired. And I can't do that when I'm alongside of this great athlete. I got to get up to that. So the first stair is like up here. I'm saying, shit. So I had the adrenaline going, and I made it. I made it. And then I gave a little news conference from the front of the, they asked their wise guy questions and everything. And then we drove about 2 feet. I got out, got into the plane. And then I got in the car, and I'm driving over here, and I have this still on. And I come into the arena, and I say, "Where's my jacket? I want to get out of this thing." And they said, "It would be unbelievable if you could wear it on stage." I said, I said, "No way. I got 25,000 people standing outside. I got all these people here. There's no way I'm wearing it on stage." They said, "Oh, okay, sir." I said, "Get me my jacket." But if you did, it actually makes you look thinner. I said, "Oh." And they got me. I said, "I want to wear it on stage." When they said I look thinner, I said, "In that case, I'll wear it on stage." I may never wear a blue jacket again. I may go in this. They said that was the word, that was the key. Sir, you look thinner. So anyway, so we had a little fun about a very serious subject. We had a little fun about a time where our country is not having a lot of fun because we're not doing well as a country, but we're going to be doing well very shortly. I promise you that.
Let's go. Donald Trump taking out the trash. So Biden's garbage comment wasn't a gaffe. It was a revelation of how the elite really see working Americans. But look what happened. A presidential candidate in an orange vest driving around in a garbage truck surrounded by cheering supporters, a movement that turned an insult into a badge of honor. So here is the question. How are you and your community responding to being called garbage by the president? Yeah, I've seen a lot of posts, people saying that they're going to be dressing up as garbage bags for Halloween and garbage cans. Are you one of them? Share your stories in the comments below. All right, let's check in. All right, let's see here. Super chat. What's up? Fun and James says, here you go, buddy. Right on, dude. I love that. So awesome. We got Colleen. She drops a 10 spot. She says, it's a super sticker of a lemon character holding his hands with gratitude on his face. There's Colleen. What's up, Colleen? Oh, here's another, this one, $4.99 from I'm Trash Bra. I'm Trash Bra. Friendly reminder, folks, trash day is on Tuesday, not recycling day. Oh, dude, that's so cool. Oh, man, that's so cool. Super chats, baby. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we got going on. Any other super chats we will read in the between the segments. Have your voice highlighted and see my shock. Okay, we've got okay, that was our second segment. Man, we got a lot of news here. Okay, so we got some Trump rallies, we got the JD Vance on the Rogan show, we got that coming in. Let's see what else is happening. Brian, let's kick it, shall we? So while Kamala Harris is shouting, "I'm speaking," at protesters interrupting her sparsely attended rallies, something remarkable happened in Joe Rogan's studio. JD Vance spent 4 hours, that's right, 4 hours in an unfiltered conversation that's sending shockwaves right through Washington. And as Vance pointedly noted, I've officially done more interview time than Kamala Harris has the entire campaign just today. Meanwhile, Trump's rallies are drawing massive crowds, with the president going 58 straight days without a break. My friends, the contrast could not be clearer. And speaking of gold standard conversations, let me tell you about the gold standard in wealth protection. Our country's debt has surpassed $35 trillion. The U.S. is borrowing just to pay back the interest that we owe, furthering a deeper hole to climb out of. Meanwhile, gold has surpassed $2,400 an ounce. Smart money is shifting out of paper promissory notes into what the Constitution says should be only real money. That's gold and silver. So if you have funds sitting in a low-interest bank account or 401k IRA retirement account, you need to call my friends at Global Gold Investments. They're America's leading precious metals dealer, and get their absolutely free, their new 2024 Protect Your Wealth and Retirement Guide. Call the number on the screen, 888-700-4148. Mention Next News. Receive their 5-star customer treatment, along with a complimentary portfolio analysis. Operators are standing by. That number again, 888-700-4148, or just simply visit IRAGoldproof.com. It is linked below. Remember, if you don't have gold, then you don't have wealth. Okay, so we got a lot to unpack in this segment. Joe Rogan and JD Vance, yes, they broke bread on the Joe Rogan experience. Joe Rogan and JD Vance dunking on Kamala's meaningless word salads. Let's listen in. Say anything when she speaks. Here is JD Vance, and he's at a rally talking about the Joe Rogan experience he had to Tulsi Gabbard.
We're closing out. We're thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to be in Pennsylvania. We actually recorded an episode of Joe Rogan this morning, so we started out in Austin, Texas, and we're closing out.
How long was it, JD? How long were you in Rogan's
Almost
studio?
4 hours. Almost 4 hours. So, I've officially done more interview time than Kamala Harris has the entire campaign just today. So, we're look. I drive.
Oh yeah. Well, there's more. JD Vance explains to Joe Rogan why he thinks the 2020 election was rigged. Uh-oh. Okay, so that point alone is all you need to scream election interference that swayed votes. Like he pointed out, the rule changes, the ballot drops, all these weird things that happen that have been extensively documented and investigated. 3,000 mules, the whole bit. Okay? Just the laptop alone was election interference and enough to swing the election. Independent investigators and agencies discovered that reality. If the American people had known, but it was suppressed because the FBI came out screaming that it was Russian disinformation, and all the social media companies just said, no, you can't talk about it. They'll suppress it. Couldn't talk about it on YouTube either. Oh, yes, there's more. J.D. Vance with Rogan, I think when Elon purchased Twitter, are now the party of absolute tyranny. J.D. Vance and Joe Rogan explain how men who are healthier and have higher testosterone levels tend to be conservative. Remember that piece that came out a while back, like, oh, if you are lifting weights and, keeping a healthy lifestyle, you might be a white supremacist or something. Remember that story that came out?
That basically
Zuckerberg. Yeah, but people are still getting throttled on Facebook too. J.D. Vance on Joe Rogan has dropped Joe Rogan on President Trump. Figure out what exactly happened there. Clearly a lapse in security. There's a lot of theories going out there, plenty floating around online. But Donald Trump had this message to say.
Election, but I've come here today with a message of hope for all Americans. With your vote in this election, I will end inflation. I will stop the massive invasion of criminals into your state. And I will bring back the American dream. We're going to bring back the American dream. It's hard to have an American dream when radical, crazy killers and just horrible murderers, you had coming through your border. Do you know how many you had? 13,099. That's Border Patrol, who endorsed me, by the way, very strongly.
That was earlier in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Here's
her. And you know what they said about her? She's the worst person they've ever seen having anything to do with the border. She's terrible. You cannot elect her. That's Border Patrol. That's Border Patrol. Do you know that in 4 years, almost 4 years, she never called Border Patrol once, and yet she was in charge of the border? That's
disgraceful. That was in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Of course, this video clip here is from his time in Wisconsin yesterday with his orange vest on, going out to the rally there. Here's another. This is an interview that he did. I believe this was on Hannity. Let's listen in. This was just 21 hours ago.
By letting So in Mexico, which is a real threat to us, by the way, in two ways. They're killing hundreds of thousands of people by letting fentanyl, another thing, come through our border. We should stop it. I had it stopped. I had it very close to stopped. I had the strongest border in history. Now we have the worst border in the history of the world. I had the strongest border. The day you saw the chart, the day I left office, I had the strongest border in the history of our country. Now we have the worst border ever in the world. There's never been a border in the world where 21 million people were allowed to come across almost at one time. It's crazy what we're doing. Mm-hmm. But we're going to have a country that's going to be strong and respected again. We're going to have a country where the taxes are going down, where the quality of life is going up. We're going to have a country. They don't respect us. It's interesting. I went to Abe of Japan, Shinzo. He was a great friend. He was assassinated. He was a great gentleman. I said, Shinzo, your deal with us is horrible. He said, I know you were going to come. I said, what do you mean? He said, I knew at some point you would come. For 25 years, nobody came. He said, no American ever came to renegotiate the deal. I knew you were going to do it. And I renegotiated the deal. And I was stuck with a bad deal to start off with. We had a bad deal with Japan. This is Japan. But I renegotiated with South Korea, with this. Now, don't forget, I'm negotiating from a bad place because they have these deals that were made by people that were either really stupid or corrupt. They had to be corrupt to make these deals. We have the worst trade deals. I was fixing these trade deals. I was taking care of our country. But the bottom line is this: we're going to be respected again. We're going to make America great again. And there's nothing in the world I'd rather be doing. I don't want to be in some beautiful beach. I don't want to be sitting in some faraway hotel where it's very nice and watching television or doing something. I want to be doing what I'm doing. It's so incredible. We've made such, and this is a movement. By the way, this is a movement maybe like the world has never seen. MAGA, Make America Great Again.
Go.
The world has never seen a movement like this. And I think we're doing very well. We're leading everything. We're against the opposition. And the opposition is also the fake news media. They're terrible.
Yeah, they are terrible. The lies, the misinformation that is spread by them. Here's more. This is Trump mentioning that he's gone 58 straight days without a break. Kamala Harris, I mean, she's hardly even doing any press or rallies.
A long time. Let's go to your closing arguments. McDonald's, Al Smith dinner, 3 hours on Joe Rogan, your rallies at Madison Square Garden. I've known you a long time, long before you ever decided to get into this crazy political world that you're in. I think I know you well enough to see that you're having a lot of fun. There's a lot at stake, but I can tell that you are definitely having a good time. Am I wrong in my perception?
Not only are you right when you say that, when you say good time, it's hard to say I'm having a good time because, yesterday I did 3 rallies. I did,
But when you're in front of a crowd,
I've gone 58 days in a row, no days off.
Yeah.
I'm amazed. She's taken 2 days off in the last few days. I said, you're getting down. I think it was down to we're down to 14 days, and she was taking days off all the time. And she only does. She'll do one little event. And they don't get any people at their events. They bus them in. I don't bus anybody. They bus them in. They don't get people, and when they leave, you saw Beyonce. They came in to see Beyonce. Beyonce didn't sing. They all left, and she's standing there making a speech. There was nobody there, and everybody was screaming and cursing because of what happened. Look, we have a real campaign. This is a movement like we've never had in this country. And it's not a question of, am I having a good time? I think we're making tremendous progress. We have to save the country. Our country... We are a nation in decline. I say it. We're a nation in serious decline. And we can't go through another 4 years. I don't think we could go through another year like this. We have criminals coming into our country at a level that's never been seen before. And to me, the biggest thing, I know the polls say the economy and inflation and everything, but and the border is number 3. I think the border is number 1. For a really great American, the border is number 1 because we're allowing tens of thousands. Think of it. This is announced the Border Patrol, which is so great. They did things which they've never done before. They announced last week how many of different crimes have coming in. They said 13,099 exact murderers, people that murdered people that were in jail, have been released into our country. They said 16,000 drug lords, drug dealers. I mean, everything's exactly detailed onto. They never did that before. They announced the total, but they wouldn't say what the crimes were. Think of it. They've released over 13,000 convicted killers. Many of them killed far more than one person. And they're now roaming the fields of our country. We made America great. And now we're going to make America great again. We're going to make it great again. And we have the formula. It's down pat. This country, we're going to have jobs. We're going to have countries pouring back into our country. You're going to see something. And now I know everybody in Washington. I didn't know anybody. I was not a Washington person. I was rarely there. I know everybody. I know the good, the strong, the weak, the stupid. I know everybody. And we're going to make this country great again.
Yes, we will. Oh, we've got more, friends. Don't go anywhere. I've got this beautiful moment. Did you see this one yet?
And everyone has a right to be heard, but right now I am speaking. And
I am speaking. Kamala shouts, this is, okay, while Trump is out there wearing a garbage man's outfit and, Vance is doing Joe Rogan, Kamala thinks that this is going to move the needle.
And can we hear it for our amazing musicians, Gracie Abrams, Remy Wolf,
Yeah, you see, all they can do is lean on these celebrities who are probably all hanging out with, going to Diddy parties, right? And they're forced to make these endorsements. Here's President Trump. Let's go back to when he was in Wisconsin yesterday.
Kamala's gross incompetence. Her gross incompetence disqualifies her from being President of the United States of America. She's incompetent. Everyone knows it. No one respects her. No one trusts her. No one takes her seriously. And to make her president would be a gamble with the lives of millions and millions of people. She would get us into a third world war. She doesn't know how to talk to these people. They would laugh at her. They would laugh at her because she's so grossly incompetent to do the job. She's not going to be able to do the job. And everybody that knows her agrees. And 5 months ago, they said there's no way she could be running for president. She's incompetent. And then
what he's talking about there is the media was attacking her. She had the lowest ratings of any vice president in American history, and suddenly she's the darling of the party, and the media can't get enough of her. Let's go back to see what the president's saying.
And because she's a member of this savage machine known as the Democrat Party,
satanic.
And then all of your sons and daughters will end up getting drafted to fight these endless wars that we've been in. I've gotten us out of so many. I was the only president, think of this, in 82 years not to start a war. We dealt with peace through strength.
And that's the kind of president we need. Learning now, Eric Trump has just cast his vote for his father with his beautiful wife, Laura Trump. He says, it's been a tremendous honor to stand by my father's side in the fight to save America. Today, I probably voted for him once again. Dad, you're incredible, and I love you very much. Let's make America great again. Man, how beautiful is that? Here we have Trump talking about the open borders. They're going to destroy your Social Security and Medicare, but I'm going to save it all. Also, he said, over the past 4 years, Kamala has orchestrated the most egregious betrayal that any leader in American history has ever inflicted. She's violated her oath and eradicated our sovereign border and unleashed an army of migrant gangs. Here he is telling you just how important Tuesday is.
You've had enough. So this Tuesday, you have to stand up and you have to tell Kamala that you've had enough. You can't take it anymore. You're the worst vice president. You're the worst border czar. There's never been anybody bad like you. Kamala, you're fired. Get the hell out of here. Get out of here.
Yeah, let's see Kamala draw that kind of love. No, she just gets protesters at her rallies that are bussed in from God knows where. So, we got J.D. Vance tearing it up on the Joe Rogan show. Let's see real quick here. How many views has the Joe Rogan show? Let's see. J.D. Vance, Rogan. It doesn't even show up here. Okay, 6 hours ago, it's showing me 2.8 million? 2.8 million views in 6 hours. So that's pretty impressive. Obviously not the same numbers that Donald Trump got, but way more than Harris ever received when she went on the Call Her Daddy podcast. Now the contrast is stunning. While Harris can barely handle unscripted moments at her own rallies, Trump is speaking to packed venues night after night. While she dodges tough questions, J.D. Vance spent hours in unfiltered conversation with Joe Rogan. So here's what we're asking you. Why do you think Kamala Harris refuses to do any long-form interviews? I can't wait to read your comments. All right. Let's get into it. We got some super chats to acknowledge. My favorite part of the show. This is the coolest part. I'm Trash Bra. Says, if I was a Democrat, I would give all my 6 votes to Trump. So that was $4.99. I'm Trash Bra. And Archangel USMC dropping this message. He says, dropping a 5 spot. He says, Trump for the next 10 years. What do you think's going to happen? I mean, we've got God willing, and I believe that God has his hand on Donald Trump, and I believe that Donald Trump will win, despite all the cheating that we're already seeing happening. Got 4 years. He's got 4 years to fix the mess. And he picks J.D. Vance to be his successor. But as we've seen, whenever there's a primary situation, there's a lot of people that throw their hat in the ring. I mean, you could even see Don Jr. show up, right? And continue the Trump. Could you imagine seeing that ticket, Donald Trump Jr. running for president? I think that Don Jr. probably needs to get some executive official status. Maybe run for governor of a state or something like that, or even Eric Trump. That'd be pretty cool. But then I'm sure Vivek's going to throw his hat back in the ring in 2028. J.D. Vance would naturally be throwing his hat in the ring. Of course, speculating on 2028 is pretty premature, but nonetheless, it's always fun when you think about it. Okay, let's see what we've got here. Let's get to our next story of the evening. Thank you guys for the super chats. Appreciate that big time. Always brings a smile to my face. All right, Trump garbage, election integrity, J.D. Vance Rogan. Okay, we got this next story. And then after this one, we're going to cover that New York Times hit piece that totally crumbled. You guys got to stick around for that. And something else just dropped while we were in the middle of that piece, and I tagged it for you guys. Something else related to another hit piece coming out. We'll dive into that as well. All right, Patriots, the numbers are staggering, and the mainstream media can't hide them anymore. New battleground polling shows Trump dominating among new voters by an incredible 19-point margin. But that is just the beginning. Former Democrats are switching sides in droves, with one Michigan voter declaring, I went from being a Democrat to the thug life. Even Frank Luntz admits that the momentum is in his favor. The blue wall isn't just cracking, it is crumbling. And after Biden's garbage comments, well, the numbers are about to get even more interesting. But that doesn't mean you should get complacent. You still got to get out there and vote. And speaking of shocking numbers, let me tell you about Chuck Norris. Have you ever wondered how in his 80s he's still kicking butt and staying more active than people half his age? Well, I saw a video recently that he made. I was stunned. He's in his 80s, but he's still working out, staying strong. He's got energy to spare for his grandkids. How? By making one simple change. He and his wife both feel decades younger. Do you want to know his secret? Watch his exclusive video at chuckdefense.com/next. It is a game changer, folks. And right now, you can access his method at a special discount. You'll find the link in the description. All right, we got to get to this. Breaking news out of the battleground states. Eric Darty, he is posting that the battleground states poll voters who have voted in 22-24 primaries had Harris up 3, not the primaries. It was a tie. In 2020 general election, Trump up 12. No voting record. Okay, these are all the people who voted, right, in all those dates. But with no voting record, Trump is up 19%. These are new voters. This is a very significant number. Michael Scott, he's posting this, that the red wave cometh. This is how you know the polls have yet again underestimated Trump. Just based on those new voting polling numbers, Trump is up 19% with new voters. We also have news out of Georgia. You can see it right there. Trump is up at 49%. He's up 2 over Harris at 47. Stein at 1%. Oliver and West at 0. This is from political polls. Also, Joe Concha reporting that this is off the charts from the New York Times of all places. As we just stated, voting preference given the history of voting. Donald Trump is up 19% with people with no voting record. And then in the 2020 general election, up 12%. Up 12 points, forgive me. So just those two numbers alone is very significant. Based on the 2020 general election, up 12 points, and new voters, 19 points. That's a huge advantage Donald Trump has right now. Trump 19% with Trump plus 19 with new voters suggests he could be underestimated in the polls again. And a new general election poll shows Trump overall at 49% over Harris at 46. Trump slight lead over Harris in the final polls. Now Kalshi is one of those, like, it's like a poly market where you can bet real money on the election. They're stating here, this is just 5 hours ago, who will win the general election. Now, it's good. They got Trump at 59% to 41%, but when you look at the chart, Donald Trump is down a few points, and Kamala is up. Now, I'm not sure exactly what triggered that, but Donald Trump is still in the lead. There's a slight, it's like a slight dip, and then it starts coming back up. So let's just keep those numbers going up and make sure you guys get out to the polls and vote. Here we have, yes, polls indicating in New Hampshire is no longer in the Harris column. Trump's campaign should consider conducting a rally in New Hampshire. Oh, yeah. Live free or die state. So it looks like New Hampshire is leaning towards Trump now. Here's one Arizona voter. What does he have to say?
Biden won by less than...
I think if Kamala gets into office, I don't think much will change. I think it'll get worse.
In a state that Biden won by less than 1/3 of 1%.
I think if Kamala gets into office, I don't think much will change. I think it'll get worse.
In a state...
It will get worse if Kamala gets into office. Now, here is Frank Luntz. Not really a fan of this guy for a long time. But the pollster Frank Luntz says that President Biden may have lost Kamala Harris the election, says his garbage comment is huge. CNN asking, will Biden's comment move voters? Let's listen in.
Just his comments seemingly describing Trump supporters as, quote, garbage. The Harris campaign is trying to downplay the effect of those comments. Of course they are. But I wonder if you think that those comments are going to move voters.
It's going to be huge because this is not some comedian saying something stupid and offensive at a rally where he should have been basically disinvited. This is the president of the United States endorsing his vice president saying something. And I know that there's different interpretations about what he said. It's still inappropriate. He still shouldn't be doing it. And I've watched Trump already seize this. The basket of deplorables was significant, was meaningful in 2016. In 2024, I can promise you that this is going to drive Trump turnout. He's doing it already. I can see, I'm sure there's going to be ads on as soon as tonight about this. This may be a turning point for those final 3%, and that's all it is, who still need to be persuaded.
So 3% is all that's left to be persuaded, and the garbage comment from Biden could actually move the needle. Here's an Australian reporter. Kamala Harris seems to have a problem with young men. Why do you think that is?
Problem with... Now to the United States, where Donald Trump is putting on a massive show in his hometown of New York City.
Tell me, I know that Kamala Harris seems to have a problem with young men. Why do you think that is?
Because she's stupid. I'm sorry for my language too, but she's an absolute idiot. The issue with Kamala Harris is she's scripted. The reason people love Trump is he made politics entertaining. Like when he talks, he might say some wild stuff, but you could tell it's from the heart.
Now to the United States, where Donald Trump is putting on a massive show in his hometown of New York City.
Tell me, I know that Kamala Harris seems to have a problem with young men. Why do you think that is?
Because she's stupid. I'm sorry for...
Oh, man. Okay, did you guys see this video? Okay, I've never seen Trump yawn. Never. But this is video from last night showing Kamala Harris quite exhausted with still days remaining until election night. Oh, someone needs to put like some lullaby music over this video clip. Donald Trump actually posted this on his X account, and he had some text over it. Maybe I'll find it in a minute. Now this is the crowd outside of the Albuquerque rally earlier today. A massive rally. It's like every single one of these rallies. There are people that are lined up 10 deep, miles long, chanting, screaming, and supporting. You don't see buses like Kamala has. People bust in from God knows where. Oh, and then there's this. Now, I'm not really big on like celebrity endorsements. Of course, like I thought the Hulk Hogan endorsement was really cool, and seeing him bring that energy out in Madison Square Garden, and of course at the RNC. But here is the YouTuber and boxer Jake Paul endorsing President Trump.
We can't have Democrats have been in power for 12 of the last 16 years. So if we aren't happy with the current political state, economic state, environmental state, then who is to blame? Tim Walz, the vice presidential candidate, has even said this himself.
We can't afford 4 more years of this.
We can't have 4 more years of this. Even Tim says there needs to be change, and he's right. We need to change from Kamala Harris to the Republican candidate, Donald Trump.
Yeah. We can't have 4 more years of this. Talk about it. The most stupid campaign gaffe ever. Here's another one. He grew up in a Democrat household, voted twice for Barack. But what's happening now?
Self-described moderate. He grew up in a Democratic household, voted twice for Barack Obama, moved to the Milwaukee suburbs a decade ago.
Toppings, cold foams.
A self-described moderate ready to vote a 3rd time for Donald Trump.
I just see that Donald Trump, from a business-minded standpoint, from a let's make a deal standpoint, and from an economics and financing perspective, I think he's got the right mindset for how the country should be run, how to support small and medium-sized businesses.
Are there downsides to him in your view?
Does he have some character or personality, things that go on? For sure. But I would say you have to separate the message from the messenger sometime.
Trump won suburban Waukesha County in both 2016 and 2020, but his margin was smaller the second time, and Wisconsin flipped back to blue. Deasy believes Trump is stronger this time.
I would say over the last, say, 6 to 12 months, definitely a large Trump bump, if you want to call it that.
So we got more coming in. Let's keep this flow going. We've got Kamala sleeping. We got Jake Paul, and he's endorsing Trump. Here is a Michigan voter. This is great.
Trump and Elon. I see your shirt there. That's J.D. Vance, RFK, Trump, and Elon.
I went from being a Democrat to the thug life.
And why did you change?
Because these 4 men, one, I've been watching Trump. When Trump was in the presidency, we had no war. And I'm 66 years old, and I've never experienced that in my lifetime. I just want to experience these 4 men taking on the swamp. And I just want this once in my life. All I want for Christmas are these guys to win.
I see your shirt there.
That's awesome. And she's talking about RFK, and she's talking about Vance. I mean, all those guys.
Why did you change?
Because these 4 men, one, I've been watching Trump. When Trump was in the presidency, we had no war. And I'm 66 years old, and I've never experienced that in my lifetime. I just want to experience these 4 men taking on the swamp.
Oh, it's going to be a beautiful thing to see those guys go in and just drain that swamp dry. It needs to happen, and it is long overdue. Here is, we got some news from Fox 10 hours ago about the blue wall.
That is, I think a lot of it comes down to Pennsylvania. I'm hardly a political expert. I'm going to Pennsylvania right after the show. Everyone I know that is polling for President Trump, a lot of us are going to Pennsylvania to try to get out. If they're sending me, clearly it's an important Like they're reaching the bottom of the barrel here, to get people out there. Every vote counts.
Well, it's like 19, right? Electoral vote.
Right. So, and it's critical. And I think if President Trump wins Pennsylvania, he wins. And so, to me, that's the most important one. Of course, Wisconsin's important. President Trump was there yesterday, but it's that blue wall. I think if we can maintain that, but I'm very confident that blue wall is going to pull for Donald Trump. And that's because, as we've discussed before, we have this common man CPI, which basically tells you that for the average person that doesn't have, let's say, a private equity portfolio, might just have savings, they've fallen behind. Their standard of living has deteriorated meaningfully over the past 4 years. And so people feel that. And, again, if you're relatively wealthy, maybe you don't see it as much. But if you're just a regular person, it's clear as day. And I think those states are going to move towards President Trump.
Yeah.
And they certainly are. All the polls are indicating it, but that doesn't mean you got to get complacent. Remember that. You still got to get out and vote. Don't let the polls, don't just rely on the polls. Here's more from Frank Luntz on CNN.
Because it reminds me so much of 2016, and I think there are a lot of similarities right now between this campaign and that campaign. The divisions in the country were significant back then. People didn't think Trump had a chance back then. He's been gaining and gaining. The momentum, I don't know who's going to win. I can't call it, and nobody should, because statistically and polling and focus groups, it is way too close to call. However, the momentum is clearly, in what I see and what I hear, is in his favor. And so every word, every phrase, every misstep, every gaffe matters as those last remaining persuadables make their decision. I don't believe in the undecided anymore. I don't believe there's undecided, because it reminds me so much of 2016. And
So, battleground states moving, record numbers of people who've never voted before moving for Trump, plus 19 points. And in the general election from 2020, Trump is up 12 points there. So we might just see that red wave that we need. God's hand is on this. God's hand is on this country. Continue to pray for President Trump and his family and for this nation. But my friends, the polling data is clear. We're witnessing a political realignment that has the establishment terrified. From suburban Milwaukee to inner city Detroit, Americans are rejecting the Harris campaign message of division. So here's what I want to know from you. Are the polls still underestimating Trump's support? Have you noticed more people in your community switching their support to Trump? Share your observations in the comments below. All right. Looks like we got a super chat. Studio dropping a 5 spot. She says, I have plenty of orange vests. Just need a garbage bag. Studio, you don't have a garbage bag? Just make sure if you do, you cut a hole in the top. We don't want anyone getting hurt with their Halloween costume this year. Thank you for the super chat. Always love seeing it. So we had Fun and James dropped a 20. Colleen Welch dropped a 10 spot. I'm Trash Bra dropped 2 super chats. $4.99 and $4.99. And then we had Archangel dropping a 5 spot. Thank you for that. And then we had Studio. So who will be the next to drop a super chat? All right, let's get into the next story of the evening. Our final segment, the New York Times hit job. Let's get to it. Just days before the election, the New York Times launched what they thought would be their knockout punch. Working with Media Matters, they tried to pressure YouTube into silencing conservative voices under the guise of protecting democracy. Their target list? Everyone from Rudy Giuliani to Ben Shapiro, from Tucker Carlson to Ted Cruz, and they even featured Eliza Schaefer on the banner of the article. But something remarkable happened. YouTube stood firm. The platform actually defended free speech, leaving the Times and Media Matters exposed for what they really are: censorship advocates masquerading as journalists. And you know what's painful? watching the mainstream media try to silence conservative voices. But let me tell you what's even more painful, living with chronic aches day after day. And that's where Clint Winter's breakthrough comes in. His discovery, canalidine, is revolutionizing pain relief. It's 100% drug-free, works by optimizing your body's natural painkillers. UFC fighters swear by it, and over 1 million Americans have found relief. And for less than $1 a day, you can access the only canalidine product in the world. Don't wait. Go to trycano.com/NNN now and try it risk-free for 90 days. Okay, so this is a big story. We covered it when the word started to spread after Tucker Carlson posted the screenshots from his text messages, and Ben Shapiro did the same. We knew something was coming. They were going to target 30 conservative influencers, and it turned out to be just a big dud because YouTube pushed back. And a lot of people are really surprised by that, myself included. Now, before I get into that, just a couple hours ago, America First Legal posted that the UK-based Center for Countering Digital Hate is leveraging its connection to the Biden-Harris administration to illegally engage in an influence campaign to stop free speech in the U.S. They've targeted Robert Kennedy Jr., Elon Musk, and more. So it looks like America First Legal is now taking action. They've got a thread here based on new evidence explained in the following thread. We have formally requested that the DOJ investigate whether CCDH's U.S. operation and leadership agents of a foreign principal must comply with the Foreign Agents Registration Act. CCDH is a nonprofit organization established and predominantly staffed in the UK that has promoted unconstitutional censorship on social media platforms for years. In London, it shares an address with Labour Together, a UK Labour Party associated think tank. They met with Kamala Harris' campaign at the DNC in Chicago and has promoted unconstitutional censorship on social media platforms for years. Look at this headline from Politico. Trump allies rage at UK Labour help for Kamala Harris. There's more to come. So the question is now, is this foreign influence on our election? Sure looks like it. But what's really trying to influence the election? The New York Times and Media Matters. Libby Edmonds posting this, that YouTube defends conservative content creators against Media Matters fueled New York Times hit piece on election misinformation, linking to the Post-Millennial. Let's see what the Post-Millennial had to say. If we can get, okay, so here it is. We've got YouTube defending. New York Times. Nico Grant reached out to prominent YouTubers earlier this week to inquire about the election misinformation beleaguered far-left media watchdog Media Matters had claimed to have found in their videos. Grant also reached out to YouTube for his article. The platform said that none of the 286 videos violated its community guidelines. YouTube further told the Times that what's important to us is that we are representing a broad spectrum of views. Grant asked Tucker Carlson, Tim Pool, Ben Shapiro, Andrew Klavan, Benny Johnson, and the Babylon Bee, among others, about those videos before digging into their relationship with YouTube, asking, are you a member of the YouTube Partner Program? If so, how frequently does YouTube demonetize your videos? Has YouTube sent you messages or emails or notices in the last year that your content contains misinformation? When reached for comment, most of the commentators responded with some variation of F you and posted the correspondence on X. YouTube had once had restrictions against so-called election misinformation, but those restrictions were lifted. Others have not been. Grant blasted YouTube for what he said was their decision to stop fighting the most persistent strain of election misinformation in the United States. The falsehood that President Biden stole the 2020 election from President Donald Trump. He went on to boast that Media Matters, which is a media watchdog, no. They just target conservatives. They've targeted us ad nauseum. He boasted the Media Matters, which is a media watchdog that is currently facing lawsuits, both from Elon Musk X and the state of Missouri. The New York Times claims that Media Matters monitors information from conservative sources and examine the consequences of YouTube's cessation of election censorship And Grant admits that Media Matters is a partisan organization, but said the Times independently verified the research. Sure. So this dropped. This is part of the header there. New York Times conservative hit piece dropped. New York Times Media Matters attempt to pressure Google, YouTube to remove 30 voices. That's what they're trying to do. They want to silence your voice. They want to silence these prominent conservative voices. Benny Johnson posting this excellent breakdown of the hit piece. Let's listen.
Their coverage of
conservative commentators are accusing the New York Times of working with a left-wing group to try and silence them.
commentators, including Ben Shapiro and Benny Johnson, say a New York Times reporter has reached out to them about what they believe is a possible hit piece the Times is writing about their coverage of Vice President Harris. They claim the New York Times is working with Media Matters, a left-wing media watchdog that has put pressure on conservative voices. We have reached out to the New York Times for comment, but have not heard back yet. When we do, if we do, we'll let you know.
In the meantime, let's bring in Joe Concha, Fox News contributor. Tell us what you know about it. Hi, Joe.
Hey, Sandra, John. So, yeah, for starters, let's be clear so our audience knows who we're talking about here. There is not a more corrupt, more radical media organization out there than Media Matters. And the New York Times, which has vast resources and personnel, instead of doing its own research, has now outsourced this to this patently dishonest activist organization whose number one mission outside of taking out this network is to squash any and all free speech through AstroTurf campaigns online against anyone or anything they consider to be conservative or even right of center. Elon Musk once referred to Media Matters as an evil propaganda machine. That's not hyperbole. He ain't wrong. So this is the game plan here, okay? Media Matters, along with the New York Times, and it's getting increasingly difficult to differentiate the two, by the way, they're going to pressure YouTube to deplatform these big voices on the right, like Ben Shapiro, like Benny Johnson. And before you say, well, that's never going to happen, well, remember that YouTube is owned by Google, and Google is the number one donor to the Democratic Party out of Silicon Valley. So if it does happen, the argument will be, well, Shapiro or Johnson, they are spreading misinformation on the platform. Misinformation like, saying that COVID may have come from a lab or Hunter Biden's laptop is Russian disinformation. That kind of misinformation. So who's to decide what it is and what it isn't? But that's what they're trying to do right now, 7 days before an election.
Some of the things they cite is that Ben Johnson said that Mr. Trump's legal problems are a result of election interference from Democrats. I think there are a lot of people who believe that. Also, that Democrats cheated by nominating Vice President Harris. That his opinion is that they cheated. I mean, they definitely circumvented the primary process and any other political norms by elevating her to the position. Those are probably opinions that are held by a lot of people.
That's the whole point, John, right? It's an opinion. Okay, Kamala Harris didn't get one vote before she was handed the nomination. Can you call that rigged? Well, from some people's perspective, yeah, you can. So now you're going to say, oh, no, that's dangerous misinformation. We can't have opinions like that when probably half the country does have an opinion like that. And by the way, Media Matters is a tax-free organization, but they receive millions for Democratic mega donors. And they use those funds to pressure major companies to pull their advertising from outlets that they target. And yet here's the New York Times presenting them as some sort of objective, legitimate source when they're nothing more than a far-left activist organization. So, hopefully they're not successful here, but the deck is stacked against Shapiro and Johnson and others at this point, given that it's the New York Times with Media Matters and YouTube and Google all trying to take them out. And as we saw with Hunter Biden's laptop, they were successful before the last election in terms of squashing voices at a critical time.
All right.
Okay. Now, the twist here is that YouTube stood their ground. They stood their ground and said that these guys are not violating any terms of service. And everything that they said on all of their shows is 100% free speech. It is their opinion. So here you have a so-called newspaper of record partnering with a radical left-wing group to squash people's voices, to get them deplatformed and demonetized, because those questions that were asked were specifically targeted about the YouTube partner program that they enjoy being a part of. Here is Benny Johnson talking about Media Matters.
Media Matters is a far left-wing hate group created and funded exclusively by Clintonites David Brock for the sole purpose of deplatforming conservative media. It gets worse. Media Matters has been exposed as frauds. Please, ALX, put up the article of Elon Musk's lawsuit against Media Matters. Media Matters, in their reporting, engaged in algorithmic manipulation or some level of actual criminal fraud. Media Matters is a far left-wing hate group created and funded exclusively by Clintonites David Brock for the sole purpose of deplatforming conservative media.
Now, they really went hard. They really went hard, Media Matters, against Benny Johnson. If you go to their site, I mean, you'll see it. YouTube is profiting from Benny Johnson's election misinformation. Oh, I mean, they open up their article, and it is bad. YouTube has this is from directly from Media Matters. YouTube has allowed and apparently profited from conservative streamer and serial plagiarist Benny Johnson's false claims of election fraud, enabled by the platform's decision to roll back its election misinformation policy last year. Oh, I mean, the articles on Media Matters are atrocious. Okay, so the main story on Media Matters here, I guess I will just go to that real quick. Media Matters. This is their front page. YouTube let right-wing figures undermine the 2024 election results even before any votes were cast. They go after Laura Loomer. Go back how Trump's media allies have dismissed or denigrated third world country Puerto Rico. The right is projecting irrational confidence about a Trump win that could aid in an effort to steal the election. YouTube is profiting from Benny Johnson's election misinformation. Here's the other hit piece. YouTube has provided a home for Rudy Giuliani's election denial after WABC canceled his radio shows. Right-wing radio hosts in Wisconsin and other swing states are priming their audiences for election denial. Right-wing media are already trying to undermine the election results in Pennsylvania with baseless claims of voter fraud. Oh, yeah. Media Matters, no friend of the Next News Network. I will show you all the hit pieces that they've done on me. Mike Lindell. This is back in July of 2023. Mike Lindell hosted a summit that we promoted. They didn't like that. Here's something about Benghazi we were mentioning. Here is a specific attack piece that they put out on us. I mean, it just goes on and on. These are all, a lot of these go back to COVID. These are all these stories mention Next News Network. But thankfully, YouTube stood their ground and did not allow Media Matters and New York Times to pressure them. YouTube defending them. But there's more, friends. It gets even deeper. Ben Shapiro has just responded to this because it's not just the New York Times. There's another hit piece about to drop from the Washington Post. Let's listen to what Ben Shapiro says.
So I informed you a little bit earlier this week that I got a message from the New York Times in which they essentially were attempting to pressure YouTube into censoring all sorts of conservative podcasts, videos, everything else. The claim was that I was engaged in election misinformation. And then the entire email was all about how I essentially needed to be shut down by YouTube, because if you're demonetized on YouTube, they also shut down your reach and all the rest. We talked about that a couple of days ago. Well, in case you thought that was not a coordinated hit, yesterday I received the following email from the Washington Post. Again, when I say that there is a Democratic media human centipede, it's because there is. It's because there is. And the entire goal of that Democratic legacy media human centipede is to shut down anyone who disagrees with them. Anyone and everyone who disagrees with them. So Media Matters had brought out this study, apparently, behind closed doors, and they fed it to the New York Times, who then attempted to get comment from people like me, from Tucker Carlson, from a bunch of other people on the right, in which they were essentially attempting to elicit the response suggesting that we were all election deniers and engaged in misinformation so YouTube could shut us down. The Washington Post, literally within 48 hours, sent me this email yesterday. Quote, "Hi, Ben. I'm a tech reporter at the Washington Post. My colleagues and I are working on a story that examines the role podcasts are playing in casting doubt on the integrity of the 2024 election. The piece includes interviews with researchers who say podcasts are an especially effective medium for such claims because of how technically challenging it is for companies to do content moderation." Okay, so what does that mean? They're saying, the suggestion here is that companies ought to be doing content moderation. Which companies? Well, presumably social media companies ought to be shutting down, once again, shows like this one. YouTube ought to shut down this show, according to the Washington Post. Or perhaps she's talking about Spotify, or perhaps iTunes, or perhaps she's talking about advertisers. They can't do content moderation on shows like yours, and you are an election denier. This is what the Washington Post reporter is saying. Quote, "A Washington Post analysis found that the Ben Shapiro Show is one of many nationally prominent podcasts that have aired these claims. Our analysis is based on your October interview with former President Trump, where you referred to Democrats as professionals at ballot harvesting, and Trump referred to them as cheaters. Could you please let me know if you have any comment? My deadline is 5 p.m. Eastern today." We received that early in the afternoon yesterday. Okay, so notice the claim. Okay, the claim is that I was engaged in election misinformation by referring to Democrats as professionals at ballot harvesting. That apparently is election misinformation. Here is NBC News. Quote, "Democrats, for their part, have long enjoyed successes in mail voting, fueled in part by ballot collection where it is legal. The Democratic National Committee said it plans to spend tens of millions of dollars in support of voting programs like mail and early voting." NBC News, you election deniers, you. Engaged in election misinformation every day, apparently, NBC News. Of course, they don't believe that I'm engaged in election misinformation. The thing they're mad about is that I had on Donald Trump. It's not just me they want to censor. They also want to censor Trump. Right? They believe that it is some sort of informational crime for me to have on the former president of the United States and likely future president of the United States. That's insane. It's totally crazy. And again, the claim is, again, that we are supposed to censor President Trump, that I can't say things that are perfectly true about ballot harvesting, which is one of the most corrupt practices in America. So I informed you a little bit.
So Ben Shapiro, Benny Johnson firing back. Fox News, of course. And we have this from Metaverse Corner. New York Times' latest expose on YouTube supposedly saving democracy by forcing them to shut down conservative voices is less about facts and more about control. Here's the reality they don't want you to see, shall we? The irony overload. These self-proclaimed fact-checkers have basically declared themselves the ultimate truth squad, but only when it's politically convenient. By hand-picking conservative channels to expose and giving others a free pass, they're showing us just how out of touch their so-called balanced reporting really is. Democracy? Only if you play by their rules. 2, dangerous free speech? Only if it's not theirs. So questioning any official narrative is now dangerous? Funny how free speech is this powerful pillar of democracy until people start saying things certain folks don't want to hear. Somehow they're rebranded debate as rebranded debate as a threat. Meanwhile, real issues slip through the cracks. Cash grab hypocrisy. These guardians of truth love to cry about YouTube making ad money on conservative videos, yet here is the New York Times pocketing ad dollars every time they whip up fear with these hit pieces. Let's be real. Someone's cashing in, and it's not who they're pointing the finger at. And what's notable is that normally when you go to the New York Times, they have it behind a paywall. But not this article. This article they wanted everyone to see. But were there ads placed around the article? Probably. Let's continue. The desperation is showing. Trying to protect democracy by silencing one side of the debate right before an election, that's not a democracy, it's damage control. The real problem, people are waking up and a narrative as stale as this won't cut it. This is the same game they have played time and time again. We saw it during the pandemic. We saw it after the 2016 election. And now they're pulling this playbook again. It is a sad, sad rerun on a late show that people just tune into. They don't tune into, they tune it out. It's just background noise. In the end, this isn't about protecting democracy. It's about clinging to a narrative that's lost touch with the reality people live in. Desperate times call for desperate tactics, and the so-called saviors are sounding a lot like a one-sided sales pitch. That's where we're at, folks. They are doing everything they can. But people are happy about YouTube's response. The Times and the Post thought they were going to use Media Matters to take down conservatives on the platform, and YouTube told them to pound sand. Good for YouTube. Seriously. Days ahead of the 2024 election, David Brock's Media Matters used New York Times as a vehicle to pressure YouTube to deplatform right-wing voices, but YouTube didn't cave. A YouTube spokeswoman said, none of the 286 videos violated community guidelines. This is what they said. The ability to openly debate political ideas, even those that are controversial, is an important value, especially in the midst of election season. That is what the YouTube representative said. YouTube defends conservative content creators against Media Matters. The fueled New York Times hit piece. Ben Shapiro says we're 5 days out from the election, and the coordinated media hit from the New York Times and Washington Post is here, and it is a huge dud. The article is effectively trying to strong-arm YouTube into censoring voices that the New York Times disapproves of. It's shameful behavior from a newspaper. Meanwhile, the ideology of GARM is still alive and well. GARM is one of the international organizations that tries to deplatform people by taking ad revenue away, but Elon Musk stepped in, sued GARM, and GARM was disbanded. But believe me, those people are still out there trying to do this, as evidenced by this New York Times hit piece. So the New York Times thought they could pressure YouTube into submission. Instead, they exposed their own bias and desperation. Even Elon Musk weighed in, calling Media Matters evil incarnate. But here's what we want to know from you. Why do you think the mainstream media is so desperate to silence conservative voices just days before the election? Share your theories in the comments below. All right, let's check in. Do we have any super chats to highlight here? Let's see. No super chats. Okay. All right. That's cool. Let's see what else people are responding to. Overall, I saw some people they say, love the show. Great stream. I was checking some of the messages. Sue Gordon says, oh, I lost it. What was there another super chat that just came in? Did I just miss it? Another one? No, I did not. Okay. All right, let's go back to, let's see. Mr. R. Okay, this is 3 hours. Okay, I got to scroll forward. Happy Halloween, says Kim. I wasn't going to chat. Glad I did, said the Queen Bee. Running Bear looks like he's going off to trick or treat. The Fox says, United World Government doesn't want competition and doesn't need patriotism. Sue Gordon says, I live in a blue state as well, California. At least I'm in Orange County, Huntington Beach, which is mostly conservative. Pothead Kenny says, Diddy's blown out by now. Ooh. They don't want to give up power. It's plain to see, says Robert. All right. Who else we got here? Someone should trash Mark Cuban out in the corner. What a POS. Susan says, YouTube made it really hard for people to find the Rogan and Trump interview. Yeah, and that's why Jim Jordan is now investigating. Watch Woman of the Dragon. Gary, we will beat it this time. Yes, because we know their tricks and all eyes are open and people are well aware and they are making sure they're documenting their vote. They're out there investigating every single, weird circumstance surrounding this election. Thank God people are. It's really sad. It's sad, but I guess all this had to happen. They had to go in. They had to steal the 2020 election. They install Joe Biden. Joe Biden was a complete failure. Then they install Kamala Harris. Her campaign's a complete failure. We know all their tricks now, so we know what to watch for. Donald Trump is just steamrolling them at every single corner, donning a reflective vest. I mean, Vivek Ramaswamy riding on a garbage truck. Joe Biden calling everyone garbage. Yeah, it's bad. And then you got Mark Cuban. Apparently, though, Mark Cuban, I guess he made he did issue an apology. I'm just finding this out now. Let's see if I can find it. Brian, you can bring up our feed with the triple box. Let's see. I believe it was Mark Cuban. He did issue some kind of a retraction because he got a lot of heat from all these prominent Republican women, as you saw. What, Brian? Was there another super chat? Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you were telling me to notify me. Alveda King says Mark Cuban has no place to say what he did. Donald Trump, I'm standing with you. I've interviewed her. She's a great woman. My wife is also a huge fan. Byron Donald says 3 days after Tim Walz called half America Nazis, 2 days after Joe Biden called half American garbage day, Kamala top surrogate, Mark Cuban called Republican women weak and unintelligent. They want to divide America. We want to unite America. Mercedes Schlapp, you might want to get control of your male surrogates. Yeah, dude, the backlash on Cuban is really bad. Ex-WWE President CEO Linda McMahon delivered an epic smackdown against Cuban. Let's see. I just saw Mark Cuban just canceled himself, they're saying. Let's see. It's beyond ironic Mark Cuban would make the insane comment that Trump has no strong, intelligent women in his circle. It's so glaringly obvious that this leftist Democrat camp where you find all the spineless, gullible men. Let's see. I thought I saw him. Oh, here's Kellyanne Conway. Let's see what she has to say.
Cuban. Hey, it's Kellyanne Conway with a special message for Mark Cuban and all the other misogynists that support Kamala Harris and love to spew hateful, divisive, sexist rhetoric. Recognize this place? This is the ellipse, where presently a strong, intelligent woman is speaking without a teleprompter. Recognize that place? That's the White House. Your handpicked candidate, Hillary Clinton, lived there as wife of a president, but not as the president. Donald J. Trump beat her, in part because he is unafraid to surround himself with strong, intelligent, capable men and women. Whether it's Joe Biden calling us garbage or Mark Cuban denying our strength and intelligence, I'm here to stand up and speak up for the tens of millions of strong, intelligent women who November 5th will vote for peace, prosperity, security, safety, fairness. Thank you, and God
bless you too. Where is it? I saw he did. Let's see. Where? Brian, did you see it somewhere? I saw it here. Here's Kamala's low energy. This is what Trump actually posted. Where is it? Mark Cuban. Everyone's just dragging that guy. Let's see. Mark Cuban apologize. Let's see. Maybe that will give us what we need. Mark Cuban apologize. Mark Cuban needs to publicly apologize. Harris is going to revoke Mark Cuban's public speaking card. I know I saw it. Sarah Huckabee Sanders weighing in. Wow. Yeah, she's a strong, intelligent woman as well. Sleazy, misogynist, a-hole says what? Was he part of Girls Gone Wild? That's not objectifying women. Front row Hillary backer Mark Cuban won't apologize for airing Girls Gone Wild show and says softcore porn doesn't compromise him as a Clinton advocate. What do you know? I didn't know that. Women on X are speaking out after Mark Cuban. Oh, wow. Ashley St. Clair says, Mark Cuban just sent me a message doubling down on his comment. You never see Donald Trump around strong and intelligent women. So I guess he didn't. Well, that's to his detriment and his fault. Let's check in on the chat real quick here and see what you guys are saying. And then we're going to call it a night. It's Halloween. I got all my kids are all dressed up and they're eating all the candy, and I got to find some Reese's Pieces, man. And Reese's Pieces cups. Oh man, that's my kryptonite, man. What's your favorite Halloween candy? Like for me, Reese's Pieces, Kit Kat. Like those are the two. Like whatchamacallits are okay, but you got to get them when they're fresh. But personally, I'm like, I love Reese's. Like peanut butter and chocolate, that's my thing. Like I'll make a protein shake with like a chocolate, and I'll just throw like this peanut butter powder in there, and boom, it is so good. So good. All right, let's see what you guys are saying here. Okay. Gummy brains. Ew. I voted early, says Peggy. Come on, guys. What's your favorite Halloween candy? What is it? Where are we? No one has any like. Oh wait, I think I'm seeing them here. Oh, Kit Kat bars, says Dave. Yeah, gotta love Kit Kat bars for sure. I think this chat is. Oh yeah, another one. Reese's cups. Our boy likes the Reese's cups too. Meant to be free likes the Kit Kat. Snickers. Donna likes Snickers. Cisco likes the Three Musketeers. Blazy Susan, she likes the Reese's Big Cups. You know, what is it? Like, you know what's cool? Like, if you guys ever done the keto diet, they actually have like keto chocolate and keto peanut butter. Like, that's dangerous stuff. Oh, Reese's Take Fives. Those are good too. Pothead Kenny says, try the new stuffed marshmallow things. They're awesome. Jeanette says, candy corn popcorn balls. You know, Jeanette, I never liked popcorn balls. It's just like, you got this big thing. It's like, it's too hard to eat. They get all over your face. It's kind of messy. That's why I never liked them. Frog says he likes rocks. Okay. Shoryu says he likes the gummy brains. Bob says he likes anything chocolate, Kit Kat, Reese's, or Hershey. Marina says she loves the Hershey's. Truth Seeker, what's up? Dropping a super chat. What up? What up? What up? Baby, let's see what you got here. Dropping a 20 spot. That's going to buy a lot of Reese's Pieces. Gary, you're my first super chat ever. So grateful for you and your channel. Happy Halloween. Reese's and Kit Kats for sure. True Seeker, we are on the same page, my friend. Thank you for that super chat. Love it. Definitely going to go buy some Reese's Pieces tonight now. Potted Kenny says Three Musketeers. He loves that. Scott Edwards likes the cups. TXSP a little bit loves Reese's and the cups. Milky Way. Yeah, Milky Ways are good. I like the Milky Way when I was younger because I didn't like the peanuts in the Snickers, but I've come to love Snickers. Oh, you know what else I like? I like Payday bars. Payday bars are awesome. They got the salty peanut with the nougat. Oh yeah, those are good. Let's see. What else we got? Milky Way from Shannon. Frog 72 likes a pine cone. I'm not sure what that would be like. Just like a pine cone? Like from a tree? What else? Who else? Come on. Come on. Tell me something I have never heard of. There's got to be someone out there that loves some weird shit. All right, guys. I don't know. I can only hang out for so much longer here because I'm getting text messages. They got the chili in the crock pot right now. I got my wife sent me a picture of something that looked like, I don't know. I tried to ask her what it was. She didn't respond. It looked really delicious. Hubba bubba. Hubba bubble. Tampon Tim's favorite candy is Blue Chew. Keeps him going. Oh, that's bad. That's bad. Leia says, I don't eat candy. Ooh, dark chocolate lint balls. Those are good. Leia says, I don't eat candy bars anymore or fast food, but I did like peach rings and chocolate, peanut butter, caramel. Also, don't celebrate Halloween, but swear I'm still a fun person. Smarties. Oh, those are interesting. Mr. D's Nuts Bars. Is that a thing? Peanut brittle. Ooh, I like Heath bars too. Yeah. Rocks and pine cones, says Frog. Yeah. Well, I guess if you're a frog, you might like rocks and pine cones. Love Mr. B, says Sue Gordon. Oh boy. I love you guys. Certainly love you guys. And thank you guys for all of the super chats tonight. Every dollar helps keep this channel going, especially that we've been demonetized for 22 months and we're just digging out of a hole now since we've been remonetized. And you guys are now able to send the super chats, which is really exciting. And of course, when we found out the news the other day, you guys just celebrated like crazy with us. And I encourage you to go back and watch that. If you missed it, go back and watch it. About 47-minute mark on the last stream. And you'll see the moment that I was like scratching my head and calling my wife and everything. Beautiful. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've reached the end of a truly historic Halloween broadcast, but the real horror story isn't the ghosts and goblins prowling our streets tonight. It's what we've uncovered about our election system, just 5 days before America makes its choice. So let's recap what we have learned. Voting machines failing across multiple states, passwords leaked in Colorado, ballots sitting unsecured in public spaces. The establishment wants this buried, but we have now brought it to light. Then there's the remarkable transformation of Biden's garbage comment into a movement. President Trump in that orange vest standing with America's working class turned their insult into a revolution. Even Vivek Ramaswamy joined the garbage route. That's what leadership looks like. In the polls, well, they're telling a story that has the Harris campaign trembling. Trump's not just leading, he is dominating among new voters. Former Democrats and demographics that have the establishment running scared. How about the Joe Rogan interview with J.D. Vance? 4 hours of unfiltered truth, while Kamala Harris can barely handle 4 minutes of unscripted questions at her own rallies. But perhaps most telling was the New York Times' failed attempt to silence conservative voices. They threw everything that they had at us, and you know what happened? Well, they failed. YouTube actually stood up for free speech, and that should tell you just how desperate that they're getting. Before we go, I do want to thank all of our super chatters and our Rumble ranters tonight. Your support keeps us going. You're the backbone of the movement. And to everyone who donated tonight, you are keeping real journalism alive. We need your support now more than ever. We're still digging out of a deep 22-month hole. The links are in the description. Every dollar helps us continue bringing you the truth that they don't want you to hear. Remember, this is not just about news. It's about saving our republic. So share the stream. Tell your friends. Follow us on Rumble and X, because in 5 days, America makes a choice that will echo through history. Stay strong, patriots, and we'll see you tomorrow night.